Welcome to Dom's Corner, everybody. We are here to talk about Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
You ruined it.
Kebab. All right. So here today with me, I have Adam Leach. I have Ian Schick. Hey, if you guys like the content here, please hit that like button below. Subscribe to the channel. Leave some feedback in the comments section. Share this with your friends. Much appreciated as always. We have all revisited Star Wars The Force Awakens today, and it is time to start with our discussions on the sequel trilogy. First of all, Adam, how you doing today?
Not too shabby. How are you?
Pretty good. And his second time on the show, Ian Schick. How you doing, man? Good.
Oh.
Very good. All right. It's time to...
Okay, I'm doing great.
This is going to be 4 hours. I can see it right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night, and I got work tomorrow. But
I should have had dinner first.
Probably. All right. So here we go. All right. So Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So before we actually start discussing the movie in depth and all that kind of stuff, I really would like to take the time to talk about the time surrounding the release of the film. It was definitely an exciting time, I think. I was excited, but cautiously. We'd heard that J.J. Abrams was direct. I know why Adam's laughing, because I know he's thinking about the time I drank the 2 gallons of water. So that's
I forgot about that.
But anyway, that true story, folks. Did it in 10 minutes. But
water intoxication at its finest.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Anyway, so I was cautiously excited myself when this film was coming out. I saw it and I loved it at the theater, so I was so happy. Always have been a J.J. Abrams fan, but wasn't sure how his directing would translate over to Star Wars. But there was just so much cool merchandise. Adam, Ian, I'm sure you guys remember working at FYE, the merchandise that came out for this film, and how awesome that was. I actually have some here myself, if I may. Always got to show off the merchandise. Got this little Finn action figure. I also have this Rey action figure.
That's dope.
And Adam, would it surprise you that I actually own 3 editions of this film on Blu-ray?
Not one bit.
All right.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
I
either.
do have...
I think I actually... At my parents' house back home, I think I have a crap load of the old posters that we hung up at work, the huge ones that went in the window.
Yeah, I have a poster too. It's all the way over there, so I'm not going to pull that down. But yeah, I mean, the posters were awesome. I mean, most of the marketing stuff was great for this film. I mean, I have this edition of it. Let's see, I have this really cool 3D edition of it, and I have this steelbook. And Adam, I know you were all over this when it came out. I actually have the soundtrack. So, awesome stuff.
I've got that.
Yeah. Adam, talk a little bit about the time, surrounding the release, I mean, before this film come out, what was it like for you?
I mean, it was freaking exciting,
Yeah.
super exciting. I mean, all of my friends and my family, everybody I know are Star Wars fans. Got a lot of friends that are very big Star Wars fans, and just all of us were extremely excited. And we worked at FYE, so I remember you and I were talking literally all the time about what it was going to be like, what we were going to expect from it. And we started seeing the merchandise roll in, and that was one of the most exciting things ever, because we went from not really seeing anything from Star Wars for years, really, since the 3rd movie came out, the prequel. And then, Star Wars just kind of went black for a while. And then there had been rumors. I remember in the late 2000s, there were rumors that there was going to be another one, but it never happened. And then more rumors popped up. And then, there was when Disney bought Lucas, and that everything exploded. And there were all these fan theories about what was going to happen. So when we started getting merchandise in, it was like, man, it was like nerd heaven. I specifically remember setting up our first Star Wars display with Richard at the front of the store. I just so exciting. One of the coolest things ever. And then, of course, when it finally came out, going to see it with my friends, going to the premiere, the excitement, just the pure pandemonium in the room. There went to the first showing. You know, there were people that hadn't seen a Star Wars movie since the originals had come out in theaters. There were some older folks there, even people in their 70s, and also children that were going. So it was very cool. One of those movies that people from 3 years old to 93 years old were just as excited. One of my favorite memories. It really was.
Ian, how about you, man? You know, the time surrounding this release, how are you feeling about it?
I was kind of indifferent at first because I was like, Disney. I hate Disney. Okay, like I just feel like they ruin a lot of things that they get their hands on. But I feel like they did fantastic with this movie. So I just remember like going to the theater and my friend Cole was like, "Yo, I'll get you a ticket right now if you come watch it." He's like, "I've already seen it, but I want to see it again." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm down. You know, whatever." I was just gonna wait for it to come out on Blu-ray because I'm always been the type of person just wait for movies just come out and then watch them, mainly because illegally streaming. But so we went and watched it, and I loved the movie. There was this kid talking, this kid and his dad talking right next to us, and Cole was super irritated about it, and he like after the movie he was super upset, and I was like, bro, honestly, I loved the experience. Like even the kid and his dad talking, I loved it because it was just like this dad bonding with his kid over something that he probably grew up with himself. Yeah. So it was really cool to see a bunch of those crowds come in and re-experience everything. But one of the biggest scenes was spoiled for me on Facebook without anybody even having to say anything or post anything serious. This girl posted, "Well, mom's crush died." And it showed she was at AMC theaters. And I was like, I already know who died. I already know what happened. I was like, I thought I was safe. I was on my way to the theater too. And I saw it. And I was like, you got to be fucking shitting me. Are you kidding me?
Well,
I was so upset.
Yeah, I mean, you got to see them on opening night, right? That's just how it goes. Otherwise, or stay off social media until you do see it. And it's a bummer for that reason, because there's a lot of people that like to spoil these things. Yeah, for me again, though, I was like cautiously excited about this one, and I think this is where Adam, you and I have a shared experiences. I remember you coming back with your entourage back into the FYE store, and I was still working there that night, and you going,
"Oh yeah, that's
you got to see this movie," and I wasn't cautiously excited. I wasn't cautiously excited because Disney had it myself. I was cautiously excited because of the prequels, if I'm being honest with you, and that's why I was very cautiously excited.
I'd be more concerned if George Lucas still had it at this point.
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, it was J.J. Abrams and it was new, and it's like, but I don't know. I just didn't know how it was going to be. I don't think any of us really did. You came back and you were like, you got to see what I just saw. And I was like, I don't think I'm pretty sure it's going to be impossible to get a ticket tonight at this point, because I knew I was closing. I didn't even bother to pre-order. So I went back home, and my buddy who had he was my roommate at the time. Not my roommate, I'm sorry, my neighbor at the time. He and I had watched all the Star Wars films prior, prepping for this release. And I remember I remember him coming over to my house just randomly, and I had on the Phantom Menace, and, he was like, "Is this the Phantom Menace?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I haven't seen this in ages." I was like, "Me either. I'm just putting it on again, prepping for the release of 7. And he's like, "Well, we got to watch them all." And he and I did. We watched them all together. And, I remember I went to his house. Like, I was like, I felt terrible that night. I was sick and everything. And I remember going to his house after work and being like, I am so sick. And he was like, I was like, "Do you want to see Star Wars tomorrow though, if I'm feeling any better?" And he's like, "I'm busy tomorrow." And I was like, damn. I was like, "When are we going to go see it?" Because you and I got to go see it together at some point. And I remember he finally was like, well, do you want to go tonight? I was like, it's going to be impossible to get in tonight. I drove by the theater just to look. It's packed. There's no way we're getting in. He and I went to the theater just, off of, kind of throwing a Hail Mary. And so when we get there, we asked the lady if there was any tickets available. And she's like, last two for like 11 o'clock or something like that. I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah. I was like, all right, we're going. And so
destiny.
It was, man. So he and I went in, we watched this movie, and oh my God, he and I think, stayed up till about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, just talking about our experience. Cause it was quite something. And
I couldn't stop talking about it either.
I know, it was amazing.
The force was with you to watch that.
It was, man.
Totally
Last
was.
2 tickets, man. Like, how does that even happen? And I mean, the seats were right next to each other. It was absolutely destiny. And they were wonderful seats too, man. And I mean, just everything about that experience was awesome. The audience cheering, everything, man. It was great. Anyway, so we've all revisited the film. Adam, I always let you go first, man. What were your overall thoughts on it now?
I still love it.
Yeah.
There really isn't anything that anybody could tell me to make me not love it because of the emotion I have attached to it. Because, like you said, it was so exciting at the time. I was with my friends and we were all really excited and we couldn't stop talking about it afterward. There was a lady behind me that hadn't seen any Star Wars movies since she went to I think episode 6 when it originally released in theaters. And she was crying during the movie. There was just so much excitement around it. So I can't disassociate that experience, like the experience of seeing Han for the first time in years, especially for a lady like her who literally hadn't seen him in a Star Wars movie since like the 80s. So just that excitement, people cheering and yelling. When you see the Millennium Falcon pop up, people are screaming. You see Han Solo, people are screaming. You see C-3PO, people are screaming.
Yeah.
There was just it really added to the movie, and any flaws that I see with it are kind of overpowered by my personal experience that I had. That being said, it's a tremendously entertaining movie. Tremendously entertaining. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but the technology we have today with movies is better than it's ever been. And honestly, there isn't a lot more improvement that could be had other than going virtual reality. Even ridiculous special effects look amazing and very realistic. So it's like just the excitement, the attention to detail. It's something we haven't been able technology wise to capture in a Star Wars film. So we got that for the first time, something that is just in your face action, amazing effects. And not only that, but they paid a lot of attention to their camera shots and the way they did the lighting. And there are really some beautiful shots that they have. It felt very artsy, and for that reason also I really appreciate it. So I still loved it.
Yeah. Ian, what do you got? Overall thoughts?
I thought the movie was a masterpiece, in my opinion. Like, honestly,
high praise.
I really I thought it was fantastic. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was very disappointed with the second one, but we're not on the second one right now. But I thought the story behind it was fantastic. They brought a lot of substance back, a lot of nostalgia back, and I feel like a lot of the choices they made within the first movie, the seventh movie, I guess at this point, were fantastic choices. I wish I would have gotten the full experience like you and Adam probably had with this crowd screaming and freaking out. But mainly it was just like the kid and his dad like recollecting. We had a couple oohs, ahs, and shit like that. But
something so finite
huge.
like that though is still pretty cool. I mean, it's to hear a kid and his dad just talking about this thing.
It's like the passing of the torch.
That in itself was really humbling to like hear that and be like, wow, this is amazing just to hear these two like talk. Like the oohs and ahs were like cool, but I mean, like I would have loved to have the woo and shit like that. But
that was
I was definitely pleased to hear this kid and his dad like grow and bond together like that.
Right. I mean, Go
My
ahead.
old high school band director went with his son something like 7 times or something
Wow,
ridiculous. Like
That's too
they
much.
every
I'm
time a
sorry.
new movie comes out, they literally see it like that many times. It's ridiculous.
I wonder if they're just trying to break down like the soundtrack itself.
They're just huge Star Wars fans. I think that's amazing. Like there's something really special about seeing a dad come with their young son and, you know, teach him about the magnificence of Star Wars. And
Yeah.
that's something that can be passed on to the next generation now, even more than before, because there are new movies for a younger audience to relate to. I just think it's terrific.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw this one myself 4 times. I know I saw Last Jedi like 6 times. And then Rise of Skywalker, I think I did 3, 4, somewhere around there. Anyway, so as far as watching it now for myself, you know me, I love the sequels. I think that they're really fantastic. This one is, listen, I really enjoyed it. Again, I mean, I think it's an awesome movie. I don't really have a lot of problems with it. The problems I have are pretty minuscule. I still think it's fantastic. I mean, you know, there is part of me that's like, it's not quite as good as I remembered it being, but I'll always associate it with the time, you know, and I'll always have that, and that's always going to be a part of this. And because of the time period, it was just a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and it was like, you know, it was like Star Wars fans took home a win on this one. There was, you know, everybody, you know, kind of came back with, majority of us came back with the same opinion, and it's just an amazing time. And in all honesty, yeah, I still love this movie. It's just not quite as good. The magic's not quite there, but there's still a lot about this movie I love. The majority of it I love. Like I said, my problems with it are very minuscule, but we'll dive into that. So the opening crawl comes in. All right. I mean, it's a great opening crawl. I think we were all in agreement on that. Because there's so much mystery surrounding it, right? Like, where's Luke Skywalker? How are we going to find him? You know, and there's all that kind of stuff happening.
I thought they did a pretty good job considering, you know, I always talk about the crawl in all the other movies, so, you know, I got to dissect the crawl a little bit, but I thought that they did a really good job considering how much time passed in between these movies. Like a lot of time has passed. We've missed a lot of information between then, but they did a good job of writing it and making you feel like not a lot happened. Even though you know a lot happened, you're not really feeling like you're missing a ton. You feel like you're right where you belong. Like you're starting the movie kind of where you left off, even though it was, you know, 30, 40 years later or something.
You definitely felt like you were like, and you flowed with the story properly. I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, I mean, it's I know what you mean though. You're right. I mean, you can go from Return of the Jedi to this, and it's not necessarily seamless as much as it's just, it works. You know what I mean? It just works. It fits in place. It's not as seamless as, say, Empire to Jedi, or, you know, New Hope to Empire, but it does. It all fits kind of in place, and it just we understand that we're at a later time, you know, and it works out that way. And you know, and that was the thing, you know, I like that they kind of use the question of where's Luke Skywalker to start this off. I think that was a good way to do that. If you ever watched the documentary on the making of this one that came with the Blu-ray, I mean, it's really amazing, because that is what JJ set out to answer was, you know, where is Luke Skywalker? Then that was the whole thing he based his film off of. He might have opened up a lot of different mystery boxes along the way, and maybe one too many. We'll get into that, but you know, I think that it was just a really good way to start this, and yeah. So heading in though, after the crawl, we had that really awesome shot of the starfighter going over the moon. It looks like the moon. It's not the moon, but it looks like the moon. It's that's kind of what it reminded me of. It was like almost like an homage to E.T. You know what I mean? Like the bike going over the moon. That's how I felt about it. And then going into the And then I love the shot of the stormtroopers.
Dude.
Slightly different design on the helmets too, which I really appreciated. It is to show us that this is a new order. This isn't the Empire.
I like them.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I thought they flowed really well. They just had a nice little flow to the design.
Yeah.
Also, I was gonna say right off the bat with that first little scene where you've got the stormtroopers, those shots are terrific with the lights flashing off their helmets, and you're right off the bat. It felt different because for the first time you kind of went into this movie seeing a beautiful shot like that, like, oh, okay, we're getting something a little artsy. Like, okay, they're trying to do some stuff with this movie. It's not like any basic camera or basic lighting work. It looks like right off the bat that they put a little effort into making this look pleasing, and they really did. The whole movie, there's a lot of really pleasing shots.
Absolutely.
See, what I liked most about that opening shot with the stormtroopers, you felt the dread. You felt the dread they're supposed to bring.
That's a good point. Go ahead.
I felt like it kind of had a horror aspect to it, because you barely see like what's there, but you
say horror, a horror aspect.
Horror. You know what? Leave me alone. I'm done talking for the rest of this. They definitely had a horror aspect shot to this, I feel, and like the major sense of dread, like, oh, something bad is about to happen. Something really bad's about to happen. I felt like they captured that really well just with that opening shot. Yeah,
I agree. It's definitely a more horrific feel. I'm trying to be careful.
Horror.
It does. It's very cool. It's a strobe effect, and I enjoy it. Some people might call this out and say it's gimmicky, and it is.
You're
it's
gimmicky.
Cool. It's very cool.
It was a good shot.
It is a great shot.
Your
it's
mom's
a wonderful
gimmicky.
Shot. It's a wonderful shot. To
those of you who want to shit on it, me cago en tu padre. Go on.
Yes.
Yes. Continue.
This is gonna be a very long night, and I love it.
Okay, so
so off of the horror thing, segueing.
Well, there he goes now.
No, he said horror.
Horror. I said horror.
I heard.
Look, I'm the one that mispronounces horror.
So going into the next shot where they're on the planet and they're like blowing stuff up and everything. I thought that it's clear that this time around, like, things, it really does feel a little more urgent. Whereas before, when you've got the Republic and the stormtroopers running around and everything, it was more of like, we're taking control of the galaxy. We're going to make people think that we're doing it so that they're safe and that we're the good guys, but we're actually the bad guys. This time around, it's like, no, screw you, screw your family. We're going to kill you. We're going to take your kid. Like, they go in there and they just start blowing stuff up and killing people. It's like this time it's almost like, okay, we lost the first time, but that's not happening again. So we're kicking ass and taking names. So it feels a little more urgent this time around.
And if I could, I mean, this First Order definitely has a different way of doing things than the Empire did, and it's a far more ruthless way. For sure. Not to take away from the, how intimidating the Empire was, but let's be honest, they made some mistakes and their plan didn't go, very well for them.
I mean,
so they are learning from the Empire, and they're going to try to be far more ruthless. And I mean, when you look at who their leaders are, it makes a lot of sense. I did want to go back and rest in peace, Max von Sydow, having the first line in this film, this will begin to make things right. That line is like it feels like a first line that you would read in a fantastic novel, that would just like, get you hooked in,
Hold on, I missed something. Wait, who?
Max von Sydow in the beginning, Lord Senteca.
Oh,
Max von Sydow plays Lord Senteca, and he's talking to Poe Dameron, and this will begin to make things right. I just like, for some reason, it's a great line. It just, It's really well written. But yeah, rest in peace, Max von Sydow.
I apologize for my interjection. I my mind blanked for like 2 minutes there.
Oh, okay. So then we have the troopers, like you were saying, they're shooting things down, and then we get the finally. This is where we get introduced to BB-8. We've seen Poe Dameron, but we don't really know Poe Dameron yet. But then the ship comes down, and out walks Kylo Ren. One of the most badass entrances I've ever seen. I mean, we were all so excited at the time seeing this too in the theater about who this new villain was going to be, because he looks so damn cool, and I think we got a lot out of this that we weren't expecting from him, and especially even in the scene alone. I mean, the Poe shoots the blaster and he stops it, and we've never seen that before.
That was cool.
It was awesome,
hands down, dope.
Everybody in the theater, I remember it like a collective, like,
yeah,
like, what?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Me too. Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh shit!"
I think that's when that real feel of dread kicked in. Like, this dude's strong.
And Kylo's ship is cool.
Mm-hmm.
His appearance is cool. His voice is badass. I don't care what anybody says. It's cool. I mean, everything about him is very menacing from the very beginning of this movie. He has a different vibe than Darth Vader, where Darth Vader was almost like more of a businessman. Like, he's going to come in. He's very composed. He's seasoned. He knows what he's doing. He's like, I'm going to come in. I'm going to talk to you calmly. I expect this to be done. And if it's not done, then I'm going to BDSM choke you. Like, and Kylo is more like, he walks in and he's like, listen, it's going to be this way, or I am literally going to destroy whatever is closest to me.
Exactly. He's ruthless, man. He's
Which
ruthless.
he does many times.
I want to give huge props to Adam Driver for being from South Bend, Indiana, and getting a role so strong.
Yeah, and the only time I'd seen him before this was in one other movie, and he played a very comedic role. So this was like such a shift from where I'd last seen him, you know. So I was perfect. Like, I was very impressed with Adam Driver throughout the entirety of this film.
I had no idea who he was.
Taking on the villain, yeah,
he's from South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I guess
now I was gonna say, now I have a tremendous respect for him and all the stuff that he's done since. He really, like, in terms of acting in this movie, I mean, compared to the people around him, he really is one of the shining stars in terms of acting ability. Like, that dude is dynamic.
Agreed.
Like, he's dynamic. I have a feeling he's going to be one of the best actors of this generation if they keep putting him in big roles.
I think we're already seeing it, but go ahead, Ian.
So, real quick, with Adam Driver, what's that movie that he's in that everybody's making a meme of, where he's like, I'm crying or something like that?
I'm crying. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Marriage
Story.
That's probably it. That's probably it. He's like, every day I wake up or something like that, and then he's like,
Marriage Story. Story.
I didn't see that movie, but I saw it came up on my Facebook's that whole scene where he's arguing with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't look away. I didn't want to watch it because I was like, well, I feel like I need to watch the whole movie, but I couldn't look away because I was like, dude, this dude is like, he is acting like, this is crazy.
But
he was to watch that movie.
Hands down the best argument scene I've ever seen in a film. Like, it's 100% hands down. I mean, he's so raw and real, man. The whole movie, that you got to see that movie, but it's all great. That is one of the best. He was giving
me like Viola Davis in Fences vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
That type of emotion.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm lost on that one.
Watch the movie Fences. Viola Davis does a fantastic job. Okay. She's like that scene where she's like crying and she's got snot coming out of her nose. That's like my benchmark for a phenomenal female lead in a movie. Like, she
bloated away, except for the snot on her nose.
it was like real snot too. I was
Yeah.
like,
It's gross, but
real
it's
snot
awesome.
coming out of her nose.
It's gross, but the performance it's so dedicated that you can't help but to love it. But moving back into Force Awakens, so Adam Driver, one of my favorite things, and it sets the tone for Poe, is they pull him down. I remember this getting a big laugh in the theater. Is like, who talks first? You talk first? I talk first? I think that's Poe's character in a nutshell. Honestly, he's very.
I was really skeptical at first of that because.
Oh, go on. Sorry.
When I went into this movie, obviously I'm excited, but like we said, there is a little bit of hesitance because we're getting new characters, new director, new company spearheading this thing. So when this movie started, and some of the first lines of one of the main characters is this funny stuff coming from his mouth, which is funny, but it was almost like that old head, like old Star Wars fan part of me was like, I don't know you. Who are you making jokes in my movie? I don't know you yet. You're not Han Solo. So part of me was like kind of defensive, like I don't even feel comfortable laughing at this yet. But as the movie went on, I was like, I really enjoyed the humor.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was on board with it from the beginning. I mean, personally, I was hoping for a lot of new characters and things of that nature in this. So for me, it was like, yeah, I was on board. I was like, okay, we got a new character. He's got a good vibe to him. The dialogue sounds like that real good Star Wars dialogue. We're on a good track so far. That's the way I was thinking of it, watching it for the first time.
The first time I saw Poe, I instantly just thought of Adam. So it's funny that Adam said what he said, because Poe is literally just Adam in a nutshell.
You think Poe's Adam?
Oh, yeah.
High praise.
I'll take that compliment.
I mean, legit.
I love Poe.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Poe's not my absolute favorite character, but he's up there.
Well,
I can
let me
see
tell you,
the
you make me pilot a
similarities.
ship and we're going down. I ain't.
Well, if I have a
ain't no
death wish,
pilot.
I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
But no, the first time I saw Poe, I instantly got Adam vibes. I was just like, this is Adam. This is Adam. Like, I feel like Adam just joined the movie.
I see what you mean from the humor aspect of it, for sure. Like, the humor aspect of it, I definitely understand. I mean, yeah. But so
I'll take that praise. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love you, baby.
Yeah. By the way, we need to mention who is at this point FN2187. The blood on the mask and all that. I mean, or the blood on the helmet. That is such cool imagery. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And then
I was gonna mention that shot where he gets the blood on his helmet and then he stands up. This was one of those standout shots that's just it's just really simple, but effective, and I really enjoyed it because when he stands up, the way that the camera is, and just in the nature, his body language, the camera work, the lighting and everything, even though he has a mask and a suit on and you can't see his face, you can tell that there's something wrong through his body language and the camera work. They really do a good job of pushing you towards feeling, he's kind of panicking. Like there's something going on in this guy's head. So I feel like it's always impressive when you can convey that type of emotion just through body language and camera work when you can't actually see a character's expressions.
I agree. It's very impressive. I feel like they do a lot of that in Mandalorian as well, so a lot of that's carried over. I mean, there's a lot of things like that in there. Yeah, and it was kind of like we were talking about in Return of the Jedi, in the moment where Vader's, doing the breathing and all that kind of stuff, like where he gets all messed up, and how it looked like there was just an emotion on his face even through that helmet. So yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying with that shot. And yeah, always impressive when they can do stuff like that. So then we board back on the ship, I believe, and then this is where Finn takes off his helmet. So he takes off his helmet, and then we get a glimpse of Captain Phasma, who, really doesn't really do much in this movie. She's just like, FN2187, and just.
I wanted her to be more.
I did too.
I think everybody did because she was on the marketing, but when you really think about it, we were never promised that Captain Phasma would be a big character, right?
They did market her pretty heavily, though.
Yeah, they did. I feel like she definitely needed more of a place. I'm honestly, I made this like whole motion like, yes, Captain Phasma, but that's just because I liked her character in Game of Thrones. Brianna Stark.
Gwendolyn Christie is a great actress, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brianna Stark is not Stark.
Brianna Tarth. Brianna Tarth.
Tarth. Thank you. Been a minute since I watched it.
Yeah.
But no, I was really excited to see her do that role, and then it just felt like it got shitted on.
Yeah, but this is where it comes in where your expectations end up disappointing you rather than, you know what I mean? It's that thing where you have an expectation for something, and this is why you gotta, be
cautious.
Yeah, cautious about your expectations. I mean, you can get excited, but cautiously. So
I think the
armor
opening
is dope.
Oh god, yeah.
It is cool. It is cool.
I think the opening with like Finn and the blood on the mask and everything like that, I feel like that humanizes some of the stormtroopers, and I loved that. I love that.
Yeah,
because you never feel like the stormtroopers are humanized ever.
No, it's true, and even just it's a big deal for the African American community to have an African American stormtrooper, and that makes them even more human, and just all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's just it's the first time we've ever gotten attached to a stormtrooper, even though I think
it turns out to be a little badass.
Even though I love Finn to death, I just think that of the three main characters, Finn is the weakest, but I do really enjoy his character. I feel like I'm a bigger fan of Poe and Rey personally. I like Finn a lot.
Poe and Rey are very like in your face action hero types. Mm-hmm. And Finn is kind of like, he's almost like he's got kind of a scared puppy sort of vibe. Like he means well, but he can't always get himself to get the courage to do it. So he kind of has a tail between his legs sort of vibe, which I mean, obviously was the intention. It's just a different dynamic. So in the type of movie that we have, I think, comparing like male leads, Poe comes off as being stronger because Poe's personality is very big and in your face, kind of like that of a Han Solo type of character, just unapologetic badass.
Yeah, I just feel like but I mean, you get Poe and Finn together. I mean, that's strength in characters right there. Those guys together are like the best. I mean,
they bounce off each other so well.
They so do. They really do. And then
not sexually.
Oh, there were so many fan theories about that. By the way, going into these. Anyway,
I had to. I apologize.
Oh well.
And BB-8, like what did you think at this point in the movie? What are you thinking about BB-8?
The first time I see it, or this time around?
The first time you see it.
Oh, I loved him. I loved him instantly. I was like, Same. This is like the most adorable droid ever. Like, I didn't think that was possible to make a droid this adorable. Like, obviously R2 has like a lot of personality, but like R2 is not necessarily, he has adorable moments, but he's not like adorable. That's not like what makes R2.
R2's more of a badass.
Savage, right? And then like BB-8 is like adorable. He's like, you want to take BB-8 home with you. R2, I can see there being problems,
You want to adopt him. Mm-hmm. And, R2 is my favorite Star Wars character. So when I saw BB-8, for a second, I was like, who is this guy? What's he doing? Look at him, a little ball rolling around, making beeps. But he really is adorable. And another detail that just another little small detail, which are the things that really make movies special to me, is when you notice just the tiny details that they put in there.
Yeah.
So when they're about to leave the planet and BB-8 is running away, and he's got the whatever that thing is, the part of the map that he was given to take back, and you see Poe's ship gets blown up. They blow it up. And you see the explosion, and BB-8 looks back at it, and the camera turns to BB-8, and you see the explosion just really small. You see the reflection of it in his eye. Mm-hmm. It's just like little details like that you're like, oh, that's neat that they thought of that.
Yeah,
makes it mint.
Yeah,
it's mint.
When BB-8 sees all that too, though, there's just like this look of sadness in him too, and it was kind of that thing you were talking about. If you shoot it a certain way, it's gonna convey emotion.
you talk about humanizing stormtroopers, but Star Wars does an amazing job of humanizing robots. I
Yeah.
mean, they make you attached to robots. I mean, R2D2, obviously we had an attachment to C3PO, and now we got BB-8, and of course in Rogue One you got K2SO. You got all these robots that ordinarily you shouldn't be that attached to, but
You just love them.
Especially with characters like R2D2 who don't even have as much movement as BB-8. So there's very little emotion for you to pick up on, but dang, like they always do a good job of that. And BB-8 has so much personality for being a droid.
See, they just do a good job with like everything, I feel. Like droids, humanoids, and even the animals. So like the porgs. Let's talk about the porgs for a second.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've always done a good job, and droids especially, like that's in all 9 of these they've done a phenomenal job, and 9 and even the spinoffs they've always done a great job. They've always given that extra attention to droids, and they've always been fantastic.
Fucking mint.
So I think right around here we're going over to Jakku. So Jakku is an awesome planet. I will just say that right out the bat. My biggest problem with Jakku is that, and I always say this about Star Wars movies, when you got a planet with sand, why not just make a Tatooine? Because if you're going to make a new planet, I like to see a lot of new. But the difference with Jakku is I like it even more now, reading a lot of the novels and stuff, because there's like a lot of history that happened on Jakku, and so now I like Jakku a lot more probably than when I first saw this movie. But I do like the panoramas. We're getting those panoramas back on deserts. I mean, those always look really cool. I like the big ships in the background that have crashed there, and it's a really cool detail because it lets you know there's a lot of history on this planet. But it's not until later anybody in the movie mentions that you're on Jakku, so you just kind of look at it and you're like, is this Tatooine again?
I think they were trying to toe the line between nostalgia and originality. And this is something, man, that's a whole other thing to unpack, the whole nostalgia thing. Because there were a lot of people that had a problem with so much nostalgia that they thought, oh, it's just a carbon copy of the original Star Wars. They're just trying to pass off in a new shiny package.
Yeah, and I don't feel
it's
that
not
way.
original. And the thing is, if they were more original, people would complain and say, oh, it's nothing like the originals and it's too different and there's all this new stuff and blah, blah, blah. So they had a really, 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 really difficult job ahead of them because they've have generations of people that are so attached to Star Wars that they're willing to send you death threats when they're upset with you.
Yeah.
And
wait,
and
what?
you also you had your headphones off. You missed that whole thing.
I apologize, but no, like, so
they have the creators of this movie have a difficult job because they have generations of old Star Wars fans that are so attached to the originals that they're willing to send death threats to people when they disagree with decisions. It literally happens. It's stupid, but it happens. People are so intense about it. But at the same time, you have to find a new way to spin it, and you have to find a new way to rope new generations in while maintaining that audience. So we really don't give them credit enough about the tightrope that they had to walk making this movie. So you talk about how you would like maybe to do Tatooine instead, but I think that's one of those decisions that probably came down to like, look, we've got all this nostalgia in it and we need to balance it with original. So they definitely probably felt like they had to throw in some new places.
Yeah. And let me rephrase, because I think I have a problem with that kind of thing less so in this film. And what I was really meaning more so is when I first was just watching it, I was just like,
right,
is this Tatooine? And like when you see the ships behind her and everything, you're like, okay, there's some more history to this planet than there was on Tatooine. And upon second watch, I've grown to appreciate Jakku a lot more. And I'm so happy it's on Jakku now. I have more of a problem with that in future projects. We'll get into that later at another podcast. past about how they make planets look too similar. But for this movie, I actually think it's great because, yeah, and every time I see something that's, might be similar to the original or New Hope, like people say it is, I just kind of look at it as paying tribute myself. I don't actually look at it as that's, it's a retread. I don't think of that. I think like they're paying tribute and they have to do enough similar to give us the Star Wars flavor again. And at the time, I'm sorry, most people were saying they did a great job doing that at the time.
See,
we had no idea what we were in for, but go ahead, Ian.
Sorry. See, here's how I feel about desert planets. I think that, I mean, look at our solar system. Most of our planets would be considered deserty planets.
Yeah.
So I mean, like when it comes to desert planets and you're seeing them over and over and over again,
Mhm.
I kind of expect that from a space style movie. So that's not something that's ever bothered me, and I don't think that like I was kind of with you. Like, is this Tatooine? But I don't think I've ever been bothered by like things like
Yeah.
Firefly, where you get a bunch of desert planets, or other like sci-fi settings like that where it's outer space. But that's
Yeah.
just because like we don't know what kind of planets would be out there in the first place.
Yeah, but and the Firefly, sure, whatever. I mean, wherever you want to put desert planets in sci-fi, I'm here for it. I just feel like, I mean, 2, 3, okay, but can we at least admit that they have kind of gone overboard with desert planets in Star Wars at this point? Where we're at, I mean, think about Mandalorian and Rogue One, and they put another one
what
in
else
Rise
do
of
you
Skywalker.
got, though?
Oh,
What
I don't
else do you
know.
got,
Ryan
though?
Johnson.
You got desert, you got snow, and you got trees.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson managed to make 3 really cool new looking new planets in Last Jedi.
Right,
that
but you can.
we'd never
You
seen
can only
before.
do that so much. I mean, the reality is, in a universe that's endless, you're gonna get some repeats. You're also gonna get some really original
Yeah.
places. But
Also, think about it like this: a lot of desert planets would have like resources, like metals and stuff like that. So it seems like they would be populated more because of jobs.
I don't know. I just feel like deserts are
it's true.
another problem with the desert planet, especially, is it gives it. I mean, yeah, for this film, sure, it gets us back into the Star Wars feel. But the more you use them, the more they just become. I like planets with color. It's just a preference, I guess, is kind of where I'm going.
I get that.
Yeah, like I just enjoy planets that have more color and really pop off the screen. That's I guess what I'm getting at more than anything. I understand we're gonna have a lot of planets that are similar and stuff, but let's get into Rey. So Rey is going down her little bobsled or whatever that thing is. That little it looks like a garbage can top going down the hill. Hops onto her little thingamajig. Puts her staff in it. Now, one of the things I could say immediately that I enjoyed about Rey, watching this, even before she even spoke or anything, I mean, she has she has her own particular look and style. Like, I enjoyed that about her. Like, it makes the character stand out from a lot of the rest. Little did we know she was going to be such a big part of it, too, at the time. We knew she was going to be a big character, but we didn't understand that she was going to be the Jedi. I mean, just think about that. Like, now it's like common knowledge Rey is the main character of this new trilogy, but at the time, it was just like she was just kind of secondary to everything. So we had no idea what we were in for. And I think that probably added a cooler feeling to watching this movie the first time around, is not really knowing who her character was going to be. But then they, so you really do watch these scenes through a different set of eyes, I guess, when you're watching it now. But then when you, I mean, they really do a good job at making you care about her. I mean, she's on a desert planet. I mean, this is one thing I got to say about this movie is it really made you, it made you give a shit, about these characters, or these are the moments that should have made you give a shit. So like when I hear people complain about, I don't give a shit about these characters once The Last Jedi comes out, which is a different discussion altogether. It just makes me go, well, then you shouldn't have been watching it, because you should give a shit. Like this movie should make you give a shit. This is the time, and if it didn't, then it failed. But that's just how I feel. But I certainly give a shit about Rey and all these characters, I mean, this movie did a good job with that. But it was cool. I mean, I like her space bread. I like her little cave thing. I like her, helmet. I mean, it just shows a lot. There's a lot that's just said without words,
There's a lot of character building right in there.
Yeah. and it's all through props and symbolism and things. And her first words, I don't think in this movie are even in English, so we really don't even get but you still understand so much about this character in these moments. I don't know. What do you guys think of Rey, Adam? In these moments, anyway.
It took me a second to warm up to her, because obviously coming into this movie, we're right. It takes a second to warm up to any new character.
Who do you think you are putting on that helmet? Go ahead. Right. That's how you reacted to everybody in this.
That scene is different. That scene, she's eating her food, and I'm thinking, if you do not close your mouth when you're eating that bread, I am gonna hit somebody. Right. That drove me nuts. She's literally eating like. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Can I say something though? One of the cooler details about this though, or actually two really cool details is I like her marking on the cave, like counting the days that she's been to Jakku. I thought that was a really awesome little detail they put in. And there's like whatever kind of writing is on the side of that helmet actually spells RAE in like whatever Star Wars language. I'm not nerdy enough to translate this stuff. Yeah, but the people that translated it, it's actually RAE, which Rey spells hers REY, but it almost makes you wonder, was she Rey the whole time, or did she come up with that from that, helmet? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, now watching her, and same with all the characters, now that I've had the time to watch all these movies and see the progression and everything, I love her as a character. I like seeing her in these moments. It's very raw. It's obvious that she's very independent. She doesn't really have anybody. She scavenges on her own and makes ends meet and just survives out in the desert, which is one of the harshest climates to survive in, especially to be alone and with no family. So I mean, she's got my respect for sure. I think she's I think she's badass.
And, that's a difference too. I mean, a lot of people like to say that she's like the new Luke Skywalker. Luke was a farm boy with the family. Like Rey, this is a completely different idea. Rey is a scavenger
Luke was
who has
soft.
he
was sheltered as fuck.
Rey is
he really was.
And Rey starts out as somebody who can fend for herself in the beginning. I know a lot of people like to complain about that, but it makes a lot of sense when she's had to spend so much time on her own that she's gonna be she's gonna have skills in combat and things like that. We see a little bit of that in this movie, and she's gonna have learned to fend it for herself. It just makes a lot of sense. Ian, what did you think of Rey first time watching these moments in Jakku?
I wasn't hooked on her right away, but I could tell that she was a little badass.
Yeah,
like hands down, I could tell that she was a little badass. I mean, as we kind of went over, fending for yourself out in a desert, desert area, but also being alone. And on top of that, like what you were saying about fending for herself, defending herself and having a little bit of combat. I mean, she's a female out in the desert and unknown territory for most people. And then all these other people are probably going to try to steal from her all the time, shit like that, because they see a small female. And I do feel like that sex roles do play a part even in Star Wars. I feel like that is a thing. And I feel like, but that's how it is in a lot of things. So I feel like
that's how it would be in real life.
Yeah, exactly. So I already got that. Oh, she's a little badass vibes off of her. I wasn't hooked on her yet. I didn't know how to feel about her just yet. I just
of course not. I don't think any of us were like hooked on her. Like we don't know who this is going to be at this point. And
it took me a while to warm up to her. Her personality was a little different. It took me quite a while before I was like, I really like this girl.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. Daisy Ridley's performance is not the greatest in this movie. It's good, especially for somebody this is their first movie. It's fantastic for that. But like when we're really thinking about it, her performance isn't like incredible. I mean, it's far beyond anything we saw prior in these movies in terms of like main characters like Hayden Christensen and Hamill. She's doing a far better job than that. But,
I'm going to use your own words against you.
Yeah.
It all comes down to direction.
No, I think that this is different. I think that she followed the direction here, because like she does. I think she follows the direction and does very well with that. I just think it's more just like you can tell that she has a hard time finding the rhythm once every so often. That's just kind of how I feel here. I don't think she's bad at all. I just think that she's fine. She's fine. You know what I mean? It's bouncing.
I didn't catch the whole, missing a beat thing, really. I mean, like, I felt like she had the rhythm down a little bit.
Yeah.
I just felt like, kind of, hey, this is a new character. Her personality's not going to be built just yet.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that there was some direction in the sense of, like, you got to come off a little more... I don't think they told her to come off cheesy, but I think they told her you got to come off a little more excited about things and, like, because she hasn't really been through anything yet. You know what I mean? So I think she's got to be a little bit more... And maybe that could come off cheesy to people, too. So I'll give that... That all comes down to direction for sure.
Oh yeah, but I feel like she's a new character. How old is she at this point? I don't think we ever really get a real age
in the
for her.
movies. I think, or like her character, I think is. I couldn't tell you how old Daisy Ridley is. I think her character is supposed to be like 18 though, like somewhere in that range. Yeah.
So a lot. Let's be real. A lot of like teenagers and people like they're just becoming young adults don't get excited about shit.
Yeah, and it's just like so. I'll give direction that like that comes down to direction. But she hasn't really gone through anything yet at this point. I mean, she went through a lot, but she hasn't like gone through what she's about to go through throughout the film.
I feel like at this point in the movie, I feel like how far are we expanding to right now? Are we expanding to the point where they've flown the ship and everything at this point, or are we?
Do you want to take us into Poe Dameron's interrogation? Because you could do that if you want.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
I kind of want to stick where we're at because I mean, like I only had a little bit of time to brush up on this. I had some other errands.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you were telling me about to kind of skim through it. Yeah, that's
you fine. Guys talking is what's kind of bringing stuff back for me. But I feel like new things aren't going to excite somebody who's been in survival mode for so long as much as they would for somebody who's just been like Luke Skywalker, who's been sheltered his whole life, but like hasn't had to survive like that.
Well, she did have that Luke Skywalker, or I mean that maybe not Luke, but that little rebel doll, in her little hut that she sleeps in. She was playing with that little rebel doll. So I feel like, the idea of a legendary rebel being alive still would kind of excite you. Let's move into Poe Dameron's interrogation, though.
She's definitely young.
Who?
She comes off as being young.
Right.
Like
right,
17.
Right.
She does.
Right.
17, 18.
Because, I mean, Luke came off as being young, too. I mean, Luke came off as being an immature kid. That's how he came off, and obviously his acting was a little in the first movie.
Wasn't that like
so he was kind of whiny? I don't know, probably.
I think it was like one of his first films too.
Who, Mark Hamill?
But
that was Mark Hamill's first as well. That's why they cast Daisy Ridley, because they wanted to get fresh, a fresh new actor, kind of like they did the first time.
Luke definitely came off as being a young kid, kind of immature. And Ray comes off as also just being a young kid,
Right.
But like we said, Luke was more nothing against Luke as a character, but he was soft. Like he was a soft character. He was raised as a farm boy with a family, and she was basically abandoned on this desert planet to survive by herself. Yeah. So you definitely get vibes that she's just a kid, she still has life to experience, but she is kind of hardened, she has survival skills, but you get glimpses every now and then that she's just a kid.
Yeah
See,
I agree with that statement 100%.
Yeah, I do, and I think they did well with that. I guess what started all this is I just feel like every so often you could still tell that Daisy Ridley's not a seasoned actor by any means. Like she's still coming into her own, you know, and
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to figure it out.
See,
And,
I felt that a little bit too, but I felt more or less it was just that she was hardened from the experiences that she may have went through.
right.
Overall, in terms of acting and being your first movie, I mean, I think she did a pretty good job considering
Being her first,
Mark
yes.
Mark Hamill had some moments
Yeah,
in the
I
first
mean,
movie where
yeah.
you're like,
What are you doing?
Oh, being her first, I absolutely agree with you. Like I said, for her first movie, this is more than most people can ask for, you know, for a first like performance in a film.
It was a
like,
pretty solid performance all around.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's definitely some scenes where she really does well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, before we jump into Poe Dameron, we were waiting for you to do the mic check stuff for so long. Can I use the restroom really quick?
You may.
Like put a quick pause on this. Okay. Cool.
You may. I'm gonna jump into Poe
like
because I want to
we're in
keep it
Zoom
moving.
school.
If you want to dive back in later, I'm still gonna jump into Poe. All right,
Okay,
so all right, so Poe Dameron, so we're getting into the interrogation scene. Now, one of the things I want to highlight and make sure I highlight here, because I don't think I brought it up in the beginning where it's also used, is the new sound design for when Kylo's using the Force is really, really cool. I remember hearing that in the theater for the first time and going, that's also new. I mean, we've heard sounds when people use the Force, but it's so much more predominant here, I feel like, and you could
Right.
you could really...
Well, they went kind of a new direction with sound designers, if I remember right. I think they didn't use Ben Burt in these movies, or at least didn't use him primarily. So yeah, the sound design is new, is modern, is different. He originally in the originals he did use sort of a rumble when the Force was being used.
Yeah.
Now it's more pronounced. It is different, and I do like it. And I really like the sound design in this movie is phenomenal. I mean, going way back, something I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
At the beginning where Kylo does stop that blaster shot.
Yeah.
I forgot to talk about that. The sound of that blaster shot just sitting in the air.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
It's just super dope. And the sound of Kylo Ren's lightsaber is just redonkulously cool.
Oh my gosh, I love Kylo. Yeah, we have to dive into that. Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
So cool.
Well, the fact that it sounds like a broken lightsaber, right? Like everything about this character is broken, right? I mean, this lightsaber is clearly unfinished and it has that sound to it. And even in the detail of the laser itself, I mean, it's awesome because you can tell it's unfinished. A lot of things about Kylo Ren's appearance in general just looks incomplete, you know, and it feels...
right down to his attitude.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
as a person,
character, right?
He's clearly a broken person. And, you know, people complain about Kylo and how they didn't like him and, you know, how he gets mad and throws tantrums or whatever. But, man, I love that about his character. Like you said, everything about his character just screams that he is, like, in development, you know? He's still... He also is young, and he's got a lot of emotion. He's very powerful, and he doesn't quite know what to do with that yet. And you know, he is very damaged emotionally on a personal level. So I especially think, you know, right back to talking about Adam Driver's performance, when he throws these little tantrums where he just like gets really mad and takes out his lightsaber, just starts slashing stuff. I think it's freaking awesome. It makes sense for the character, and that's part of the reason why I love his character so much.
Yeah, I agree.
I was kind of defensive on his character at first. I didn't know how to feel about it. I think going back after like when I first saw him, I was like, man, I don't like his character. I was like, this guy sucks. And then like after watching it the first time and watching it a few other times, I think I've come to realize that his character definitely makes sense. I mean, his character's like what, probably in his 20s.
Yeah, I mean, early 30s actually. I think like he might just be turning 30 here.
Okay, so I mean, like the dude's went through some mental trauma, whether it be like put on himself or put on by outside things. I don't really fully understand. I didn't read the novels, so I don't know if they touch base on that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
Bloodline by
Depending-
Claudia Gray. I'm telling you guys, you got to read this. But go ahead.
I'm about it. I mean,
Yeah, it's a great book.
So I feel like his character, after like watching it and kind of like sympathizing with it, all of his tantrums make sense because like being 25 and going through the shit that I'm going through, like mentally, I just want to fucking throw tantrums all the time. I want to break shit that's around me when I'm mad. I'm just like,
and you don't even have the force.
Exactly. I wish
I mean,
I did.
this guy's got pure dark energy running through his veins, and he is on a mission by some ridiculously dark people to do some evil crap.
Okay, so at this point in the movie, yes, he has pure dark energy from what we see, but we don't know if it's really at this point. Yeah, no, we kind of question it later in the movie, so we'll get back on that one. But
he's dark, but he's not really full Sith. You know what I mean? Like he's not. Yeah.
He's definitely going through some mental shit, and I can kind of sympathize with that, and I get where like the direction of his character was supposed to go. Now that I've watched it a few times and understand like questioning your life.
I mean, I would be in the exact same position as him. You know, you talk about a young guy who's obviously very powerful, working for some bad people, trying to do some bad stuff, take over the galaxy. And on top of that, of course, we don't really know yet at this point in the movie, but you know, his family issues, and he knows that to fulfill what he is supposed to do, instructed by, you know, the higher powers above him, his family issues sort of stand in the way. You know, that obviously happens later in the movie with that unfortunate event with Han, but you know, he's got a lot of family issues. And then we learn later, you know, about the whole business, the details of him working with Luke and everything. I mean, this dude, he's like, as Arnold Schwarzenegger said in one of his movies, "You're damaged goods." he is damaged goods. Like he really is. And as we know from Anakin back in the day, when you get a character that is damaged goods, that has, you know, family issues, emotional issues, and you mix in a lot of power and mix in a lot of dark influences, you get some dark stuff that comes out. So yeah, him having his moments where he just goes ham and freaks out, it just makes total sense.
Yeah, he doesn't have a collection of his own mental stuff. But Adam, I feel like you would be in his position because you're looking pretty dark and red over there.
Am I? Good.
That crazy look in your eye too. Shit.
I could get more red.
I'm ready to throw some tantrums.
I could turn this light red right here, right now.
Look, man, as long as you don't freak out and destroy everything in that room, I think we're golden.
I got a cat on my lap. That's my medicine. It's keeping me calm.
You know, cats are usually a sign of evil things.
It's true.
At least in movies.
Nonsense.
But I was going to say, going back into Poe Dameron, one of the things I really loved about the scene is Oscar Isaac. I actually think he does a really good job with the moments where he's supposed to be, you know, under this sort of dark spell from Kylo. You know, I mean, I love the line of, you know, the resistance will not be intimidated by you. I think he just does really well with these scenes here. And then the loud scream he gives, it's really, really good. And then this is where we get Finn goes in to break him out. This is all really great stuff. This is where the movie really starts, if you ask me. Like, we got some setup, but here we go. We're going into the shit. I mean, Finn goes in there to break him out. He's like, I love the whole thing he gives him about. He's like, I'm breaking you out, and then Poe, like, he figures out his whole thing, right? He's like, you need a pilot. I need a pilot. Like, I thought that was really good. And then, like, Poe's little smirk that he gives him, he's like, you know, we're doing this. And, you know, then we get to stay calm. I am calm. I'm talking to myself. I thought that stuff was really awesome. And then then they hop into the tie. I thought it was really cool how, like, the ties are kind of, like, locked in to the Starfighter, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like that whole bar thing that they have to try to break loose from. I thought that stuff was awesome. The whole all the shots here are just great. You know, you got troopers trying to shoot at him, trying to like stop him from stealing this thing. They're causing a whole ruckus. Then they fly out. Then we just get some amazing moments with Poe and Finn here. Poe gives them a name, you know, FN2187. Well, I'm not using that. I'm calling you Finn. I love that, you know, and I like their really get a sense of male camaraderie between these two, and I think it all
And
works out really well.
He's like, yeah, I like that. Like he's never had a name before. He's probably never had a friend before to his recollection. So it's like in this moment, you can tell he's feeling kind of like,
at home.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm normal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
see,
go ahead, Ian.
I feel like the story to action building in this whole scene that we're like in right now is perfect, really strong, really hits really well. There's like the perfect amount of story inside of this action.
Yeah.
Like they're building characters within it, and I feel like that's really strong of them to do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is the moments too. I mean, when you know, when they blow up the tie and Finn starts yelling, he's like, "Whoa! Did you see that? Did you see?" You know, like this is the moment in the theater where I remember going, Star Wars is back, you know? Like this is what I've been missing. Like this is like the exciting vibe that I've been missing, and they're bringing it back, and we're here. It felt like Star Wars again for the first time to me in a long time. I mean, again, I like Revenge of the Sith. You know how I feel about Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. Not a big fan. But even in Revenge of the Sith, that movie doesn't give me the Star Wars vibe that I was looking for. So now that we're here, it's like this is Star Wars to me, you know, and that's just kind of how I was feeling about this. Adam, did you have anything you wanted to add to the Poe and Finn camaraderie?
No, I really like their characters. I really like Poe's character a lot. That's one that has grown on me the more that I've watched these movies. I don't know. He's really likable. I really like Finn too, and I really like Rey. But so for some reason, I think Poe is just an awesome character. He's really likable.
Yeah.
He's clearly good at what he does. I think it's obvious and implied that he is kind of force sensitive.
Yeah.
Which I think was confirmed in a comic or something, if I remember right.
Who, Poe or
Poe? Yeah.
Force sensitive.
Yeah.
I mean,
I read
Finn.
that. No, Poe.
Really?
Yes. Here, let's look it up.
I don't think I remember ever reading a comic like that. I know he has like.
I thought it was obvious in these movies that it was implied that he was force sensitive because of how freaking amazing of a pilot. That was a conversation I remember having with a lot of Star Wars fans. Is Poe force sensitive?
Go ahead, Ian.
Now that you bring up the whole pilot thing, that kind of makes sense because Luke was a fantastic pilot because of that, and so was Anakin.
Yeah. I mean, and when, but the only thing I remember about Poe Dameron in the comic books is his parents had something to do with, there was like, something to do with Octo where Luke Skywalker ends up hiding out, where we end up finding out his parents had some kind of connection to that place, but I don't remember exactly how it all tied in. So
here it says, now in issue number 27, as Poe continues to regale his comrades with how he got back to his X-Fighters and saved the day, we get confirmation he is indeed force sensitive and has been unknowingly channeling the mystical energy all this time in battle.
That's right. You're right. I read that.
I thought that was kind of implied. That was one of the first questions I had about his character was he's a darn good pilot. Yeah. He's got to kind of be force sensitive. And, you know, I think people had questioned that about Han too, because Han was a great pilot, but you know, we never really got that with him. But Poe seems to be an exceptional pilot. I mean, like a really good pilot. Like we'll get to it, but you know, at the end where you get the shots of him flying through the sky, I mean, that to me was like, this dude's got to have something coursing through his veins, and it's either the Force or crack, one of the two.
Yeah, I remember reading that now. That refreshed my memory for sure. There's something to do with his parents. I don't know. But yeah, I do remember reading into that now. And yeah, I never really felt like the movies implied it. I recognize he's one of the best pilots we've ever seen in the galaxy. I just guess I never really felt like the movies implied force sensitivity with him. But okay. But so they end up crashing. We're just talking about how great of a pilot he is, but ends up crashing onto Jakku. Finn comes out, takes his jacket with him. Why in the hell, when you land on a hot desert, this is just one, it's a minor problem. Why would you put a jacket on this hot desert? Because then
I do have an answer for that.
Go ahead.
It gets cold.
So I lived in Phoenix for a while. It obviously gets in 120s regularly in the summer. And on really hot days, the construction workers will actually wear like hoodies. And I always thought, man, that looks like miserable. But it's because the sun is literally so hot. It's basically to protect yourself.
Oh, wow.
Ironically, kind of protect yourself from overheating too, because it's not directly on your skin, but obviously you're going to get really bad sunburn and stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually not abnormal to see somebody in the desert trying to cover up like that. But yeah, it would be hot as balls out there.
Oh,
It gets to like 85 degrees here, like midday when it's cool, and I still wear a hoodie just because it's just like that sun, it beams hard.
yeah.
It hit 120 in our county this year.
Wow.
Oof. Yeah, no. I think the most it's been here since I've been here is maybe 105. Thank God. I
wouldn't want to put a jacket on above 100 degrees. No way, no how. But I guess you're wandering around a desert. You need to protect yourself. So
Yeah, no. I feel like it was also just kind of be able to be like, hey, I have his jacket, so that way if anybody can see this,
That's a good
like
point.
BB-8, if anybody sees this, they know who he is. Then I have a way to at least try to find him.
All right. Well, hey, I had a problem.
it's also just a cool looking jacket.
It is a cool
Exactly.
looking jacket. Oh no,
That's probably what it was.
yeah.
He's like, fuck yeah, I got this free jacket. Fuck that dead guy.
Like, I need to crash ships with people more often. I get their clothes.
Maybe I could steal his name next.
Well, there you go. You guys may be looking at a problem I had differently. So yeah, good job. So then he goes over to the fountain and he needs water. He's getting water, and then he sees Rey just kicking some ass. So like I said, man, like she's already combat ready, man. There's anybody who has any questions about why she's so good at combat, she's ready, man. I mean, she's done it.
I think one of the biggest issues people had was with her ability to use lightsabers so well right off the bat.
And why?
Because it's supposed to be like a force sensitive thing. You're supposed to be good with a lightsaber if you're force sensitive in their eyes. I get why she was good with a lightsaber off the bat because of her combat readiness.
Why?
I don't think there's
Finn did okay.
I don't really think that there's anything to do with necessarily using the force that makes you able to use a lightsaber.
See,
I think anybody could use it. I think if you're force sensitive, you're going to be better at it, just like you're going to be a better pilot if you're force sensitive.
See, I agree with that 1,000%. Now I'm talking about people that have issues with her being so combat ready. And
I know that too. I just think that they're wrong about that because it's a weapon. Like anybody can touch and pick it. It's not like Harry Potter, you know. It's not like the wand chooses the wizard.
Right.
You know, it's not like.
I think.
Yeah, the lightsaber chooses the Jedi. It's I mean, anybody can pick up. It's still a weapon. It just happened to be used by the Jedi primarily, but you don't need to be a Jedi to use it. No.
Here's one argument I'll bring up for them specifically that like have issues with it. I feel like I can understand because the lightsaber is supposed to be like a samurai sword or a knight's sword.
It's like sacred.
Yeah, and it's like to be good with it, you have to have all this practice and all this, you know, all these teachings and all this shit. But I mean, that's just theoretical bullshit.
Well, I would argue that too because she's actually not really all that good with it either. Like if you watch her
first.
No, she really sucks. I mean, she taps into the force, and the other thing about that is like even when she taps into it, why do you have a problem with it? Obviously, this is going to get answered down the line.
Yeah,
right. And you remember when Luke is first picking up a lightsaber and he's training with the helmet on, and you know, and old Ben is telling him to, use the Force and feel. And even right there, he taps into his Force abilities and immediately starts using that lightsaber. So it's not something that you have to be a seasoned expert to understand. And especially later, as she starts feeling out her Force abilities, I think that definitely aids, just like it aided Luke in practicing with his lightsaber. But, obviously we've talked about how she was abandoned on this planet, which is obviously a rough place to be. She's had to survive. She's a young girl. If it's anything like real life, she would be a target. She had to find a way to protect herself, and she is a badass. She taught herself, or somebody taught her that we didn't see, how to fight, and she knows how to use this staff. And a staff is not that much different than picking up a sword, other than a sword is shorter. So she picks up a lightsaber, and she has obviously very good training with a staff. She's already ahead of where Luke was. Like, do you think Luke was walking around the farm yielding swords or staffs or anything? No, but he learned pretty quickly too. So I think this is somebody who clearly has had prior training, because she's had to survive on this hostile planet. So that was never an issue to me.
And I think it makes perfect sense for sure. So Finn goes over there, finds her. Then I actually think it's really funny. It still makes me laugh when she whacks him in the face with the staff, like, and he goes flying down. I think it's a really good scene.
Yes.
What's your hurry, thief? And then Finn really works well. This is one thing I got to give the characters. He works well whether he's with Poe or Rey. You know what I mean? Like, he can work well on both sides of that, and because I think him and Rey do get they have really good chemistry as well.
They're very well versed with one another.
Yeah, right from the get-go. And this is where we get into the, this droid has a map that leads straight to Luke Skywalker. She says Luke Skywalker. I thought that was a myth. Then the First Order starts coming. They're running from the First Order. I like all this stuff. I think the real comedic stuff is good. The stop grabbing my hand. I think that stuff works really well.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Then they're running toward the ship, and I like that he points out to the Falcon. And I don't think at the time we know he's pointing to the Falcon. He's just like, "What about that one?" And she's like, "That one's garbage." And then the ship gets blown up. Garbage will do. They go running back. It's all really good
everyone
stuff.
Cheered so loud in the movie theater. Lost their minds when the Millennium Falcon showed up.
Yeah.
I'm envious of you for having that experience.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
It was special.
We all knew it was coming, but yeah, it was exciting in the theater for sure.
It was definitely the most special of the three.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the feeling he had when he saw it in the trailer for Force Awakens too, just for the first time. Like, the Falcon's back. It's like, oh my God.
Everybody's shitting their pants.
In the trailer, when they played that bit of Han and Chewie walking in, Chewie, we're home.
And it still got me in the movie when I saw it.
Still does. Still does. It makes me, it's like we talked about on one of those other episodes. When you taste something or hear something that like transports you back and makes you think of a memory.
That's exactly
it's like
that.
I get that experience in some of these moments when I watch it. It like transports me back into that theater seat. Like, wow, that was special.
Oh yeah. So they hop on the Falcon, and we need a pilot. We got one. I think like the dialogue here is done really well between these two, and I like the I could do this, both of them, and they're going up into the air. Did you have something, Ian?
Yeah, I wanted to apologize. I'm not sure if you can hear the background.
I can't hear shit.
Okay, cool. Say, my mom came in here earlier and she's yelling. She's like, Ian. I'm like, I'm in the middle of something. Stop. So whenever you look back at your audio,
I'm conducting business, ma.
I'm making deals with the black market on getting a lightsaber that works.
I'm ordering feet on the black market.
That's gross. Never again, please.
They're fresh.
Feet are gross. All right. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't a lot of feedback from the background.
No, you're fine.
Right.
So then they're up in the Falcon, and I love all this stuff. I mean, it's when they
damn it, Adam.
I think the coolest scene here is when they when the Falcon's just flying, like it just all shuts down and then it's just floating and Finn takes that shot and hits that fighter. That is such a cool moment. We have never seen anything like that done with the Falcon. And,
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's epic.
All those trick moves.
Yeah.
All those trick moves.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to add about the Falcon moment, or I mean?
It's just cool. I mean, that moment you talk about where she shuts the engines off and puts it into free fall and turns and blasts it and then
oh my gosh.
Boom.
Look,
so cool.
I don't think a movie scene has ever made me so like, excuse me here, but like erect.
I had a feeling you were gonna say that. I almost filled it in for you because I knew it was coming.
You should have. Like the times that we talked about freedom boners. I've never been so erect in my life, and I'm talking about brain. Like I had a brain boner going on. Like, oh, I'm stimulated. Like watching her go through that was amazing.
It was a very stimulating shot with the Millennium Falcon.
Very arousing.
Very.
There's your video title for that. Pull out that bit
Yes.
and post it to YouTube. The Millennium Falcon is stimulating.
All right, I'm sorry.
It was arousing. I mean, honestly, like I'm afraid to turn, my camera will fall. But go ahead.
Excuse me. Anyway,
It's very arousing. What do you think's holding the camera up?
Damn it. But no, I mean, like watching all those trick moves and her like just seamlessly do it.
Yeah. No, man.
Right after she nearly crashes the thing, though. When she first gets in it, she nearly crashes the thing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, she picks it up. She's like, "Sorry about that. Hold on. New ride. New ride. Who dis?"
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, she's doing some amazing stunts, but it's like I'm just so down with it, man, because we haven't seen the Falcon in this capacity before, so it's all really awesome. And I mean, it's clear that it's, by the way, one of the funnier lines was Unkar Plutt, who's played by Sean, who's the guy from one of your favorite actors, Simon Pegg. He comes up and he does the, "Hey, that's mine." I think that cracks me up.
That's Simon Pegg?
That's Simon Pegg, yeah.
I did not know that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We're talking about the dude that does like with Nick Frost all the time, right?
He was so excited to be in that movie too.
I know.
I don't
Oh
blame
my
him.
gosh. Yeah, I love Simon
Such
Pegg.
a small role. That sucks.
It's a small role, but significant.
People get so excited to be in Star Wars stuff. Little cameos mean so much to people.
Oh yeah.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, we're gonna put the small actors in the main roles and the big actors in the little ones. That's kind of how
I'd
Star
play
Wars
a trash
works.
can.
Oh, because I got to play him less.
Who, by the way, trivia, who voices BB-8? Does anybody know this?
I have no clue.
I feel like this is something I've heard, but I definitely don't know.
Bill Hader is BB-8. So
Oh,
yeah,
Bill Hader.
Mm-hmm. Well, he recorded. I don't think he.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't think he just.
I mean, I feel like anybody could have done that.
Yeah. Well, Bill
Doesn't
Hader
have
does.
to be anybody specific.
Well, Bill Hader does incredible droid sounds and job. I mean, yeah. I mean, he.
Really?
Yeah, he
I
just
did not know that.
basically he recorded like a bunch of stuff, and I think they just used whatever he recorded for like the entirety of the trilogy. So I think he only had to come in for like one session. But yeah, he voiced BB-8. So a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, pretty cool.
I had to make sure I knew exactly who we were talking about. That's who I thought. Wow.
Yep. If you ever hear his Jabba impression too, he does a really good job of the Hutt.
I feel like anybody can.
Not like him. Dude. That's good.
Solo.
That's good, but not like Bill's, man.
I'll sit on you.
Yeah, that's Adam's Jabba impression.
Hold on, I've never heard Adam's Jabba
That was it right
impression. Let me hear more.
That was it right there. That was
all.
No, you got the Han
was-
Buki. You like that one?
Let me hear.
On me, Buki. Oh, dude, I love that line.
Yeah. So then we got Finn and Rey. They're finishing each other's sentences. How cute.
Finishing.
Finishing. So they got
Finish. I was gonna come up with like some way to say fetish, but
yeah.
Fintish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I talked to Adam, so
No,
like
it's good.
I'm
It's all good.
feeling his vibe.
It's all good. Feeling his vibe.
I am. Not his cock, don't worry. It's just vibe.
Oh, man.
My stars.
Dom, look, you told me there was no rules. That, like,
There's
really.
not. You're good. I just
Okay.
like Adam's
I gotta hit you with that Southern housewife.
Oh.
My star,
Little old me.
Oh, my pearls.
Have mercy. Hey, I haven't touched your pearls yet.
Little old me.
Little old me.
So anyway, moving into
This was a bad but fantastic idea. Go on.
yeah. So yeah, they, like I said, they're really more or less talking over each other. It's supposed to be a nice little cute little moment. Then they introduce themselves to each other, and then then this is the moment where somebody's about to break in, I believe. Is this it? This is where Han and Chewie are getting ready to come in, right?
Almost, yeah. I think they were
No. Sorry, I was
shit.
they're getting pulled into the tractor beam, which, yes, this happened in A New Hope. We all know that people get pulled into a tractor beam on the Falcon, but it's happening again.
Nostalgia.
Yep.
Deal with it.
Yep. And then, so they,
Deal with it.
I like Finn like climbing up and trying to like see what's going on, and she's get off. I think that works really funny.
Get the fuck out.
And somewhere in here, she talks about having to go to Jakku, and Finn's like,
"Oh yeah.
Why go back? You got family? You got boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?"
You know what happens? Yeah, before the tractor beam, the gas leaks. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right, and so she goes down.
It was taco night.
Yeah, because this is.
I feel like this is a key point because I felt like J.J. Abrams had a good direction. He was trying to make them a relationship and a couple and shit. I just want to point that out. What did I just miss that you guys are laughing about? I went blank.
It was taco night. There was a gas leak.
I didn't hear anything that you just said, Ian. I'm sorry.
I'm honestly scared. Gas leak. Look, last time there was a gas leak, my people got hurt.
Oh, for heavens.
Anyway, no, I felt like that was a key point into what J.J. Abrams was trying to build a relationship between them, and I feel like it was going to be. Why are you still laughing about gas leak?
Why do you think? What'd you just say a second ago? I'm sorry, that was me.
We're not even going to describe that one.
No, we're not going to go into detail.
Look, we'll let people have that one go over their heads.
It's not going to go over their heads now.
I like how you look at me, say gas leak, and then laugh. Anyway, so the look on Adam's face is priceless. So I feel like that was a good point for them to try to build up. And I felt like J.J. Abrams was going to try to make them a little bit of a relationship couple thing, but he's going to make it to where it's like she rejects him and just like, sorry, bud, you're not my type. And he's going to be like, oh.
I genuinely feel like they were, set up to be just friends from the very beginning. Like, I don't think it was supposed to be, anything like more than that. I think like, I think it was always supposed to be ambiguous, like a mystery. It's like one of the mystery boxes is, will Rey end up in a relationship? But I always felt like these two were better as friends. And
I felt from the start it was definitely a friendly thing.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was going to be his way to kind of build up like a little bit of relationship drama. Of course.
Well, it was his way to kind of dupe her to, make her think that, dupe that he was in the
have you been smoking some dupe?
I don't know why that was funny.
Dupe.
Dupa. You remember Bruce Almighty?
Yeah.
Like dupa.
Is that what he was saying in that? I don't remember that.
He said dupa.
Oh, okay. I just remember Steve Carell in that. Like, I like to do da cha cha, and that's one of my favorite moments.
A da cha cha. My tiny little nipples go to friends.
I like how
I do the cha cha like a sissy girl.
I like how he looks over at like the crew in that moment. He's like,
What's going on?
Yeah, like it's just his stoic face and like his big ass nose, just like it just makes the whole scene. But this isn't a Bruce Almighty review, so let's jump into Star Wars. Where
No, it shouldn't.
all right, so this is the part of the show where we shift gears into Bruce Almighty. But anyway, so she's trying to. So I like the moment where Rey is she wants that certain part and she's trying to tell him which one it is. And
Get the thing.
No, not that one. No, and then she just blows up on him.
The lid,
Patrick.
That's exactly where this came from. So they got
that's a deleted scene.
Sure. So they have the this is the part you were talking about. What, you got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend? Like I think
you got boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?
None of your business. That's why. And then this is when they hit the tractor beam. Then Finn looks up, does the thing, and then
that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They hit the tractor beam. That sounds like a cool club.
Well, I know what.
We'll go hit the tractor beam.
I know what business ventures Adam has now.
You think I'm opening a business out here?
Hell no.
Los Angeles? You think I can open a business out here? Costs $2,000 just to live in a closet.
Your hair's
you
doing
think I'm
like
gonna rent a retail space?
Your hair was doing like a Conan O'Brien thing when you were.
Let's get back on track. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating too. So they go into the tractor beam, and this is the part Han and Chewie come in, and Chewie, we're home. I like the line too of "Can you unfix it?" That whole thing. What was that? You all do your Chewie there. That was cool.
Well, it's actually better.
Oh, that's true.
There you go.
Got muffled a little bit.
I can't.
That moment right there, though, when Han goes in, when Han and Chewie walk in, oh, dude, the whole theater just freaking exploded.
Yeah,
it literally exploded.
Yeah. This is the Millennium Falcon. You're Han Solo. and then he's like, I used to be. And then I like when she goes, this is the ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs. And the whole theater that I was in went, 12! Like right as Han said it. It was just perfect. And I like Han saying that. Yeah, they did.
I can't
like
help
everybody.
but smile. Like even when I watched it today, I can't help but smile when Han is on the screen. Like, it just makes me so happy to see him again, and he's so old now. It makes me happy to see him again in the movie before it was too late.
Of course, yeah. He, I mean, yeah. And Harrison's coming back here, man. He's playing Han Solo, like you really feel it too. It's like he really didn't miss a beat here, man. Like he's really playing Han, and yeah, he gives
slipped that sock on really well.
He did.
It was clear though. You know, he's old. You really did feel that the character had aged. Yeah. You know, it felt different than the Han we were used to, but yet familiar. It was like it did feel like the character aged with him.
As it should have, I think. Yeah, I do.
It felt perfect.
Yeah, it was an older Han. It was a Han who had been a father and had been through a lot more, and had been in a relationship. A Han that now believes in the Force, and that's always going to change him.
That was special.
That was
when he talked about finally believing in the Force. That was such a special moment. Like that's still it. Oh, it gives you chills when you watch it, even when you see it now.
Yeah, I agree. This we get into the Rathars on the freighter too. Here, this Rathar scene,
good scene.
I
like the arguing between the people and Han.
Yeah, it's an entertaining scene. I felt like I could have done without it. Not gonna lie to you.
I could not have done without it.
Really?
I agree with that.
I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious.
That's because your long lost brother's in it.
When he said, I wrote it down. There was
his long lost brother's in this scene.
My long lost brother,
Kasu Leech. Good to see you.
Oh, that's right. When he looks at the dude and he says, have I ever not delivered for you
this is
before?
funny. Yeah, it's hysterical.
And it's like,
Even Chewie
twice. And then
Chewie
it pans
nods.
to Chewie, and Chewie's like,
he's like, you're right. This is awesome. It's an awesome scene.
That's one of my favorite humorous moments in this movie. It's just like,
I just felt like, I don't know. I like the moments leading into the Rathtar chase and all that. Like, I think that, like, the moments leading into that is cool. I just felt like once the Rathtar chase went down, I don't know. It didn't really work for me this time around.
I think we needed it because I think we needed that time with Han.
We needed something there. I agree with you. We needed something. Yeah.
And I think that was a perfect representation of Han's personality.
Yeah.
That's so Han. Like, he's lying to both of them. He's lying through his teeth.
Yeah.
It's just classic swindling Han, just as an old man. So I don't know. I really enjoyed the scene, and I like the humor in it, and just it gave you that classic, like, oh, Han, you really haven't changed.
I hate to say this because I like these characters. I really think that Finn and Rey kind of ruined this moment for me.
Really?
Yeah, I think that the exchange between them, I found a lot of the dialogue to be too cheesy for the two of them, like here, and I think that a lot of that maybe just kind of took away from the moment. Like this was a mistake. Huge, and just the whole thing of, oh, we got to reset the fuses. It just felt like a video game moment. Like, it just, that kind of took me out of it more than anything.
It does. The fuse thing does feel kind of cheesy at first, until because you're thinking, well, how does she know? But they're the wrong fuses, so she does screw up. So then you're like, oh, okay, that's what should happen.
Sure.
Like, I know how to fix this. No, you don't. You just put all of our lives in danger.
I think that's where her age shows in that one.
The scene feels crowded. I don't know. There is just something about it. It feels crowded. The dialogue doesn't work for me. I was taken out of it. Like, I remember like being like fine with it the first time I saw it, but this time around, I really, was taken out of this one. Gotta be honest.
I have to interject because I want to know, because I missed this one and I kind of wish I didn't. A lot of people shit on the Han Solo movie. How did you guys feel about it?
Podcast for another time, but I like it.
I liked it.
It was okay. Yeah. It was a surprise. I wasn't expecting anything, and I didn't even want it. So when I finally did watch it, I was like, that was better than I expected. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was just,
it's good.
I mean, if it's on, watch it.
Okay. Sorry, I was just curious because I didn't know if you guys covered that one yet or not.
Yeah, no, we
now Rogue One, on the other hand.
Rogue One, on the other hand, was amazing.
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Okay, sorry.
So,
go on.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. I guess that was my point.
General curiosity.
It's not a bad scene. Like, I agree we need something here to spend the time with Han, and there are definitely a lot of ups in this moment. I just felt like there was a lot that took me out of it too. So that's kind of where I'm at.
My condolences.
Yeah. But then
that brought me back.
I do like once we're back on the Falcon, and then what does Ray say? Is this gonna work or something like that? And he's like, I never asked that question until after I'd done it. Like, I thought that was I
like when Han uses Chewie's blaster, and every time he uses it, he's just like,
I know,
like, so surprised.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Those are some of the best moments. And they go off, they take off, and then I like when, I think this is where we flash to Kylo, who's talking to Vader's helmet. I feel the pull to the light, then he's talking about how he I want to finish what you started, which to me is very integral to this entire trilogy, that line. But we can get to that in a different podcast.
It's important.
It's very important to the trilogy. I'm
gonna have to get your guys' view on that because I'm kind of lost what you mean. What it's very important.
Well,
so
we'll tell you when you're older. We'll get to it, but this is a moment that needs to be brought back up in the final film.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Because I missed that one.
Because I feel like it's probably the most special moment of the entire trilogy to me. I think it's just very special.
If you go into, Ian, if you watch our Revenge of the Sith review, I think we really dove into it too. If you watch the Revenge of the Sith one, it's in the part where we're talking about the Palpatine and Plagueis the Palpatine and Anakin conversation at the opera. It's in there somewhere. So
Okay.
and we start to really dive into it. So I can get you a time code or something for that. But
Yeah, please do, because I'm gonna need,
Palpatine at the opera.
the last time I watched all these movies, God, when was this? This was right before December, and my memory has been shit. So
no, that's all good. So we so yeah, very important stuff. I mean we got to talk about the fact that we're seeing Vader's burnt up helmet, though. I mean, that's just an amazing thing all on its own.
oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's
like, how did he get his hands on it?
I mean, I think it's clear that like Kylo has an obsession with the Sith and his grandfather and everything that. So yeah, I mean, if you dive into the Aftermath novels, which take place after Return of the Jedi, there's these things called Sith acolytes, and they basically collect like Sith artifacts. So I'm assuming that Kylo Ren actually probably bought a lot of the stuff off them. You know, I mean, just people that collect things. I mean, they even got like their hands on Vader's lightsaber and everything. Like they've collected a lot over the years of Sith artifacts.
He's clearly a collector. I mean, and you even see later in the movie when Luke's lightsaber pops back up and he says that belongs to me.
Yeah,
like, so he clearly has a desire for these things.
Yeah, it might not even be like a Sith thing. It's more or less just collecting things from the past. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's clearly obsessed with Vader and he wants to follow his footsteps. And I mean, I just think seeing Vader's burnt up helmet is cool. The fact that it was even utilized in this film is awesome. It ties it together that much more, in my opinion. So then we move back to Rey and Han, and I forgot what she was talking about. Unkar did something to the hyperdrive, put too much stress. But I like that this is an actual moment of finishing each other's sentences between Rey and Han. But it comes off really well here. I like the relationship that Han. I mean, Han already feels the attachment to Rey, obviously. And they get along really well. It's be a really fun debate to wonder, if she really would have taken that job, with the with that Han offered her. She probably would have in the long run, I would imagine.
That would have made a fun series if Han never died.
Yeah,
no kidding.
Definitely would have. Like, yeah, Rey, Chewie, Han, like. On the Falcon together, doing shit. That would have been pretty cool. Before that, even though this is when, he's talking about he wants to drop them off at the nearest inhabited planet. And then this is where he's talking about Luke Skywalker, right? And where he's been. And, legend has it he went to go find the first Jedi temple. And then he starts talking about the Force, and the thing is, it's true, it's all of it. And yeah, like you were saying, this moment, amazing. It's incredible,
special.
Yeah, very. I mean, it's Han finally coming to terms with everything. And I remember this is one of those fan theories that I think everybody was kind of on the same page about, because they had that line in one of the trailers and all the fans were like, he's talking about the Force, right? I think everybody was like right about that, because obviously he has to now believe in it. It would have been an interesting dynamic had he still not believed in it, and they would have kept on with that. But obviously Harrison was wanting an out, so he had a, yeah. So
he didn't even want to do this movie, but they convinced him.
Yeah, money talks. Well, he was fine with it as long as they had a script he liked, and by script he liked, he had to die.
Wanted to be killed off.
Han Solo had to be gone finally, once and for all.
He's like, kill me. And
it seems that he, I mean, I know that he plays like he hates the thing, but I think he has a connection with it. And
well, that's the whole thing, is he likes Han Solo, so he wants to see Han Solo go out epically, and
not just he passes away before he can even do it.
Right. So he wants to complete Han Solo, and that's why he was telling George Richard Marquand more, who was directing that, and George, in Return of the Jedi, I want to die in that movie, because like he was set on that and they wouldn't do it for him. So he just finally got what he wanted here. But anyway, so I like Rey, coming onto the planet of Takodana when they land. and you know, her seeing the green in the galaxy and all that kind of stuff, like that, I think she played that really well there. And she I like the look of Takodana. Now we're talking about Star Wars planet that to me is like, I love it. I love Maz's castle. I just love everything about the planets. One of the great Han lines that we can't forget as well is him and Finn talking. he's like, I'm kind of a big deal in the Resistance. Like, he's telling Han Solo this like Han would know, and then he's like, listen, big deal, you got another problem. Women always find out the truth. Always. Really great line.
And then before that, you get him trying to walk through the ship, and BB-8 is in the way, and he goes, "Move, ball."
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Hold on. So when is it we first see General Hux? Because I want to say something. General Hux is actually my favorite character in these movies.
We have seen Hux a couple times. I think we forgot. Oh, me too. I think he's a fucking cartoon, but I love it about him.
Yeah, he is moody.
See, I like that guy in the movie Frank. So other things that I see him in, I'm just like, yeah, I like that guy. And then and I feel like he did a really good job.
Yeah, the actor was actually a really good actor, and especially in other stuff. God.
I think I had you watch Frank.
Maybe.
It's the big head dude.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He puts on that. Yeah.
Donald Gleason, that's his name. That's the actor's name. Yeah, he's a really good actor. But he, yeah, no, he plays a cartoon in these movies, and not so much in this one as the next two. But you just kind of got to accept what he's doing here. I mean, it is what it is, and yeah,
I like his character.
Yeah,
it's very serious, but then
it's too serious. Yeah, it's funny. What was I gonna say? So, oh, Ian, you'll like this, though. This is actually fun Hux trivia. This is more applied to The Last Jedi, but I guess I can go ahead and throw this out there real quick.
Let's hear it.
Is that there was like, I guess for some reason, I think it's in, oh man, what is it? Japan. For some reason, they have like this massive obsession with General Hux. And like, when Rian Johnson got announced that he was doing this Star Wars movie, he was originally going to kill off Hux in Last Jedi, but there was like, he got like billions of tweets coming from like, I think it was Japan that begged him not to kill off Hux, and that's why he ended up not doing it ultimately.
I'm really glad about that, honestly.
I don't know what
General
it is.
Hux is awesome.
It's like Japan for some reason loves him. I don't know why, but anyway.
I wouldn't care either way.
I'll tell you, Japan loves their side characters that like they're there, but they're not fully there, but they're like what is that? There was a show that has characters like this. It was like a little pickle for some reason, but like it was just like this little pickle character that would be in the background that would just kind of be there and add some comedic relief and then be gone, and it was like the only time you'd see him throughout the episodes, but people absolutely loved the character.
Right.
That's what General Hux is essentially.
Well, hey man, pickles
are awesome. Fucking mint, bro. Anyway,
so anyway, we move into
it's not a mint, it's a pickle.
So
shut up.
Hot offers Ray the job, and then one of my favorite parts is Ray saying I think I can handle myself, and Ron going, I know you do. That's why I'm giving it to you, the blaster. And I think that's pretty cool.
I love when he starts offering the job, and she starts realizing, you're offering me a job. And he goes, I wouldn't be nice to you. It doesn't pay much.
He has to get all Han. Yeah, about the thing. It's
like, wow, you're like really convincing. I'm not going to be nice to you, and I'm not going to pay you very much.
You're offering me a job.
Deal.
You're offering me a job. I'm thinking about it. So then and then she says, she declines, and he says that he's like, that's too bad. Chewie kind of likes you. Then they go up to the castle, and by the way, did you notice all the pod racing flags that Maz Kanata has?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Right above, it's all above the castle. All those flags they're all pod racing flags from the prequels. So pretty cool little detail.
Awesome.
Pretty awesome little detail.
The only issue I have with Maz is, for some reason, I still kind of feel this way. For some reason, I feel like the voice doesn't match the appearance.
Really?
Agreed.
I like Maz.
When I first watched it, that was a huge issue to me. I was like, I don't know what it is, but it's just that the pairing wasn't working for me. It just, not that the actor didn't do a great job. It was just that voice didn't feel like it made sense to come out of that character.
Her voice felt very grandma. Like
it just
elder.
I don't know.
I think Lupita Nyong'o was perfect for Maz. I genuinely found this. I really like Maz, especially in this movie. For sure. Like I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I genuinely think it works.
I feel like it should have been even either less human or even more old person-ish. It felt like, you know what it felt like to me was a middle-aged person trying to pretend to be an old person. That's honestly what it sounded like.
I don't think I'm ever going to hear her voice differently now. Thanks.
Is what it is. So
it's just personal preference because I like her as a character. I like her character. I think she's a cool character. It was just one of those weird things where when I watch it, I'm like, if I'm the director, I probably would have gone a kind of stranger route with her voice because she's kind of a strange character. But that's a personal choice.
Well, moving into the dinner scene though with them, it's pretty cool. Oh, they're walking in. This music, by the way. Ooh, God. I can't even do it like the voice.
It wouldn't be a review if we didn't get Dom doing a cover. That slaps.
It does. Let's hear it again. Oh my lordy.
Anyways,
it sounds like you're like Dom. Jabba the Hutt's son or something.
All right, Dom. For the rest of this review, you just got to do that, and then it's going to be Adam and I.
Oh, don't tempt me, man. I will.
Please don't.
No. All right, so we're moving.
It does give kind of a cantina vibe, though, doesn't it? I mean, not necessarily the music, but the place. The place gives a cantina vibe.
Yeah,
definitely cantina vibe.
Well, I didn't mind the music. It was just felt jarring. It was just like, okay.
It was funny.
All right.
I mean, of course, walking into the cantina, the music in the cantina was kind of odd too, and that's what gave it character.
Nothing as bad as what we got in Return of the Jedi music wise, but I mean, it's is what it is. So we get in there and we meet Maz, and I like Han. She makes like this whole scene about Han walking into the thing and Han, hey Maz. And then so they go to sit down to dinner and they're talking and she's talking about they're talking about the First Order coming in to attack, and she's talking about the Force she's talking about how she's seeing Finn's eyes. Oh, one of the better lines from Han. Han has so many good lines is by the way, don't stare at what? Any of it. I think that really works out really well. Yeah, I mean,
his facial expression when he said it too.
It was perfect.
Any of it.
Yeah. I like that she's getting on the table looking at Finn. She turns these tiles and her eyes get like huge. Well,
gigantic.
John Boyega's delivery as Finn here is really great too. The Solo, what is she doing? I don't know, but it ain't good.
I love that when she takes her glasses off, her eyes are like way too small for her head.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous.
Is this a smack at me?
No.
I know.
It is now.
You guys gonna start calling me Big Maz or some shit?
Dwight, what do you think of Maz? Oh, I'm sorry. That's Ian. Go ahead.
Identity theft is not a joke.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
I actually have never really watched that show. Sorry. I know. Yeah, I know. Shut your mouth. Shut your pie hole now.
I'm watching it for the 15th time.
Seriously, I've watched it.
I get the humor, but I just can't.
The only show I've watched more than The Office is How I Met Your Mother.
I love that show. But we know that.
Dudes, I'm just like, I will fight you. The Office is so funny.
I'm about to get burned by so many people.
I don't understand how you don't like it. It honestly surprises me.
It's hard to get into for me. It's like the first 2 seasons are really hard to get into for me. I need to watch more, I know, but it's just like my ex was trying to get me to watch like seasons later. And I'm just like, but then it's not going to be right.
It's surprising to me because my wife is one of the pickiest people when it comes to comedies. Like her sense of humor is really picky. Like I'll laugh at pretty much anything, and hers is really picky. But she is obsessed with The Office. Like, so I feel like if she likes The Office, considering how strict she is about sitcoms, I figured almost anybody could like The Office.
I think I need to give it more of a chance. I just haven't given it enough of a chance yet. But
you
anyway,
need to watch it with friends. Watch it with fun people.
Yeah,
it makes it even better.
Sure.
So, how did I feel about Maz? Well, we're practically twins. But anyway, I like
my
her
mom.
character. She gave off the grandma vibe. A little bit too much grandma on the voice, in my opinion. But so I kind of level with Adam a bit on her voice didn't fit as much. But I feel like now that I've known her as a character for as long as I have, her voice fits. It's kind of like.
It's easier to deal with now, but at the time it was kind of jarring. I felt like that seems like an odd cast for this character.
It was slightly off-putting, but I like her voice now.
I like her as a character, though.
Oh yeah, her character. I feel like as a character, she definitely has prophet style vibes, and I like it. I like characters that have prophet style vibes. Yeah.
Adam, could you take over this review? I gotta go take care of something. 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, while he does that,
it's not bad. Thanks.
So he says
he's lying. He's pooping.
He's dropping big deuces.
He's dropping big duties.
Well, it's funny he has to do this because I really had to
duty to drop duties. Okay, moving on. While he's taking a duty.
Adam, I myself will be right back because I got to.
Oh, so now I just have to carry on this review by myself.
I have to pee so bad. It's all that water.
Heavens.
It'll take 2 seconds.
It's my show now. I'm changing the name. It's my show. I'm the only one on it right now. That makes me the boss. But anyway, moving on. We've got we go into Ray going down and finding the lightsaber, and she opens the box and you see the lightsaber there, and it's like calling to her. That's that's a crazy moment. There's a bunch of voices that you hear. You hear Yoda, you hear Obi-Wan. It's just it's cool. And oh, we got someone coming back.
It's all that water.
Okay. I was just talking about how when Rey goes down and she finds the lightsaber in the box.
I feel like giving you a handle of the review was a bad idea, but I mean, I think it probably worked. So
what?
So this scene gave me nostalgia vibes so hard. It brought tears to my eyes whenever I saw the visions of Luke and all of his adventure and shit like that. It
was cool.
Oh god, it was amazing. It took me back. I was like, yes.
And you hear you can hear Yoda's voice and you can hear Obi-Wan's voice.
Yes.
You know, there are just those little idiosyncrasies in there that just make it special, and it's almost reminiscent of. It kind of reminds me of when Luke was with Yoda and he went into that cave and he saw Darth Vader. It gave me kind of those similar vibes, so it felt a little nostalgic in a new sort of way, in a new sort of context. And it scared the crap out of her. Because she sees Kylo, if I remember right.
I was literally just at that point right before she grabbed the lightsaber before we started this, so like I missed that. I don't remember if she I think she does see Kylo, and she's like, "Who the fuck is this?"
Those exact words.
She's like, "Who in the hell?"
So I thought that was a cool moment. It's like because the lightsaber is like it's like calling out to her.
Oh yeah,
which is which is cool, is different because ordinarily, I
That
don't
was a
think
fast Duke.
we've seen anything like that happen before. But yeah, he's back from his dookie.
That was a fast ass Dookie. You a little loose down there?
We were just talking about how Rey found Luke's lightsaber, and she's seeing all the stuff and hearing the different stuff.
Oh, perfect.
All right,
so
what do you think of that?
So they're at the table eating, and so Maz goes up on the table, and I'm just kidding. Rey. Yeah, no, the Rey saber stuff is awesome.
Stripping and shit.
She takes off her goggles.
So Rey, the vision
I'm gonna go to
stuff,
the bathroom.
Yeah, you're fine. The force back stuff is actually really awesome. I mean, a lot of people don't understand a lot of the stuff that's implied here. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, she goes into that back on Cloud City where Vader and Han, not Vader and Han, Vader and Luke were fighting, and yeah, it's one of the better moments in the whole movie. I like her seeing Kylo, or I like her seeing Kylo, take out that Knight of Ren with his lightsaber.
Okay.
That's like one of the things that like I feel like it was implying that maybe they were gonna go after Rey, and then like Kylo like protected her in that moment. That was always kind of my theory on it. At the end of that hallway, a lot of people don't know this, but it is canon that it's in the novelization of The Force Awakens, is that Rey actually saw a little child, Anakin, at the end of the hallway, which a lot of people don't know.
You can see that, can't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
I don't know. I was just as I was telling Adam, that scene gave me nostalgia.
Yeah.
That gave me hardcore nostalgia, and I'm quite disappointed we started right now because I was literally getting to that point. And that's like one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when she finds Luke's lightsaber. Like all those scenes it brought tears to my eyes. I'm not gonna lie. When I was there watching it, it brought literal tears to my eyes. I was like, oh man, this is just amazing.
Well, yeah, it's just great to see that hilt again on that saber and just and everything, and it's awesome.
And that made you really question if Luke was her dad or not, too, because that was like a big question in these movies. Is like, is Luke her father? Who's her father?
Yeah,
is Anakin her father?
I agree, and for the longest time, I was one of those that Luke's her father. You know what I mean? And but
up until the moment that we got the 8th movie, I was there too.
Yeah, one of the excuse me, one of the things I really didn't
God
like.
Bless you.
Well, thank you. One of the things I really didn't like here, that I mean, in terms of what it did to the fan base, is Luke putting his hand on R2-D2, and all the fans had to be like, well, that's him putting the map in R2, right? That's what that is, right? Like he's putting the map in R2. That has to be the answer, and that's like clearly not what happened. Once we see the whole thing play out later on in the trilogy, but yeah, but I love it. And then I love Rey, talking to Maz, and I love Maz's lines about child, I've seen the same eyes in different people, or I can't remember I'm paraphrasing that, but and Rey, I mean, Daisy Ridley, actually, in terms of her being an actress, this is where she really does a good job, is her getting emotional about this and really feeling the weight and the pressure of everything that's going down here. I think she did a phenomenal job with this stuff, and then her I don't want any part of this, and then her running out and running through the forest and Takodana. The forest and Takodana is such a cool looking thing. And this is one of the things I'm talking about, Adam, is like Endor was like a forest moon, right? Like in Return of the Jedi, and Takodana clearly has a forest in it, but I think it looks like a lot different than the forest in Endor, to me anyway. Like they did different things with the leaves to actually make it more distinct, and that's all I'm trying to say is like
it felt mountainous.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. So if you're gonna have deserts,
I mean, to be fair, I felt that Jakku looked slightly different than Tatooine.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Like, once you see like the ships and stuff and the wreckage in the background, like it's all good, yeah. But it's just like at first you're kind of like it kind of looks like Tatooine.
Get away from my cheese.
Get his cheese.
But anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Want to give me a piece of that? I'm getting a little hungry. But the
people are gonna think we're freaking amateurs here.
Oh no, I think the cat adds a good touch.
But yeah, did you guys go over what you thought? I mean, Ian, you touched on it. What did you think of the whole lightsaber thing, Adam? Did you go over that when I was gone, or?
A little bit. I thought it was cool. It gave me vibes of like, when Luke went into the cave and he saw Darth Vader. Like it gave those same kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And it's also interesting that it almost felt like it was calling out to her.
Yeah.
Which is new.
Yeah. Oh, what we didn't talk about is the different voices we actually hear in that too is you have Obi-Wan, both versions in this, Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor are both popping up in this. You hear Obi-Wan say, Rey, these are your first steps. I mean, the Rey is Alec Guinness. They took that clip from Don't Be Afraid, and they just took the Rey out of that and put it in there. And then Ewan McGregor came in to record lines for that. These are your first steps. And then you hear Yoda for like 2 seconds, but you barely hear him. He's in there though. But yeah, it's cool. They're all calling out to her, which is kind of a foreshadow too. Hearing the voices of the Jedi's past is kind of a foreshadow for something that happens later too, obviously in the trilogy. But yeah, then she's running through the forest, and then Maz tells Finn and Han, Rey and BB-8 they left, and so then BB-8 she gives Finn the lightsaber, and then Han's, where'd you get that? A story for another time. Yeah, right. But then we move on, and then we're going out there, and I like this entire battle sequence happening outside of the castle. I think it all works really well. I like the fact that we're seeing it from Rey's perspective, from the forest too. I like that we're switching back and forth there. Then she's just trying to run with the blaster. The BB-8's following her, and she's telling BB-8 to turn around. Then we're going into the excuse me. Then we go into the entire battle sequence. This is my favorite moment of Han taking Chewie's blaster. Hey, can I borrow that? I like this thing. Like he really is excited to use it, and it's pretty cool.
I like this thing.
So then we go into and then Finn, I need a weapon. You have one. And then this is like the coolest, like Finn igniting for the first time. I mean, it was the first time we saw a lightsaber get ignited in the film. Well, outside of Kylo Ren's. I'm sorry.
Outside of Kylo.
Right. So we're seeing the Skywalker lightsaber get ignited. I like the Stormtroopers thing. Traitor. And then he comes up with the thing. That is the coolest.
Dude freaking came in and
he's like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
At least he thought he was.
He came in like a wrecking ball.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
He thought he was gonna get it with Finn, and then all of a sudden
It was just such an exciting scene. I mean, oh my gosh, it's the sound of the Skywalker lightsaber coming back, and the look of the Skywalker lightsaber, which has been obviously improved immensely since the original trilogy, and even the prequels. Like, it just looks cool, and it's awesome, man. All the sound design going on here, and it's just it's done so well. And then amazing. Then you turn to you go back to the forest, and Kylo finds Rey. And then he freezes her with the Force as she's about to blast him, and the girl I heard so much about, or something like that, he says here. And then he takes her in his arms and starts to take her back to the ship. And then I think that we flash back to the battle near the castle, and then we get this is the part, like, I remember in the theater that gave me goosebumps, was the music, the dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah.
Dun 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 dun. And then, oh my gosh, it's the Resistance. Oh my gosh, did you just get goosebumps in the theater when you saw this? I mean, as I sure did, and it still does give me goosebumps. I mean,
yeah, I wrote down that same thing that you just said. I made a note of it. The music as they're coming in, it's just it's so cool. They're rolling in, and you got epic fight scene, and then there's that we talked about Poe. You see that ground
Yeah.
shot of him freaking
Oh my god.
blowing
Oh my
stuff
god.
up, and you're
Oh my
like,
god.
dude, he is killing it.
I like the dynamic too because like Finn has no idea that that's his buddy Poe up there, and he's like, "That's one hell of a pilot," and then they just like flash the. It's awesome, man. Oh yeah, Poe coming in and wrecking shop, dude, is like one of the best things in this entire movie for sure. I mean, oh my gosh, I mean they just captured it so well. It's all done in like this one take where oh my gosh, he's shooting like 3 ships at once.
We missed another Han line when Finn gets his butt kicked by that stormtrooper, and then
You okay,
Han
big deal?
comes over. He gets you okay, big deal?
I was gonna save that only because we had to get to Kylo takes Rey here and escapes with her, and then Finn goes over and no, you're right, that was before. I'm sorry, yeah, you had it right. Because then Finn goes running over when he sees Rey getting taken, and he does what he does best, right? Finn going over and yelling Rey. So he yells Rey, and then we get the Han. The ship lands, and then we see for the first time in a long time Princess Leia. Oh my gosh, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul. But here we are, and she walks out of the ship, and the look that her and Han give each other, and then it's just such a beautiful moment, and then 3PO butts in, the biggest cock blocker in the world.
Perfect entrance for 3PO.
Oh, hands
Perfect.
Yeah,
hands down.
Hands down.
Han Solo. He's just
don't tempt me.
Didn't think you'd recognize me with my red arm.
Dude, 3PO is such a nuisance.
Yeah. I like
who annoys you more?
Everybody
3PO?
cheered so much though when 3PO popped up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I remember everybody kind of like gasped at first because they didn't expect it, and then like they all started like clapping because it was.
There were so many moments where people just lost it in the theater.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like
you missed dialogue because the audience was so loud.
It's true. It's true. At times you did. Then there was what was it?
Ian, you were gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who annoys you more, Jar Jar or 3PO?
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar.
I love Jar Jar.
Jeez.
I love Jar Jar.
Jeez, I'm appalled.
No, it's 3PO. Neither of them actually annoy me. I just know that it's like a big thing. Is like people are annoyed by one or the other.
I love 3PO, dude. Like
3PO he's annoying, but it's just
it's perfectly annoying.
Yeah, it's good for his character. I like it. And to be fair, there are times when Jar Jar is comical, but it's just there are a lot of places where it just doesn't make sense, where it's way overdone. It just kind of got ridiculous. But forced. As a kid, I thought Jar Jar was funny. As an adult, I'm like, okay, you could tone it back a little.
Get the hell off this scene. Oh no, I've always liked Jar Jar.
Do you?
Oh, sorry, I wanted to have the little base there.
No,
we can't protect you. We can't protect you from the death threats you're gonna get in the mail by the way too hardcore Star Wars fans that are gonna be watching this.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I want to die.
Well, that just got dark.
Okay. Next scene.
And for all our viewers out there, the suicide hotline is
please
look up the number, please. Anyway, no, I mean, I think 3PO entering and as like hardcore as he did right there was just absolutely perfect as well.
Yeah.
Definitely also another scene that kind of brought a tear to my eye. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome. I mean, I like the.
Did they ever explain the red arm?
It's in a novel somewhere.
Of course it is. Lazy.
It probably got taken off by some sand people or some shit.
I think it makes perfect sense that 3PO would need new parts, though. Like as he went on, I mean, it makes sense.
Hey, don't we all?
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm living way too close to Hollywood. I think I can vouch for everybody here.
No, those people
need new parts after a while. You see it all the time.
One of my favorite lines is oh, new hair, or something like that. And then the her going same jacket, no, new jacket.
New jacket.
I love the little bit of attention that's there, like the tension that between them.
There's just a little bit, that something happened.
Yeah, I love that.
It's kind of tragic.
Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of upsetting to watch because you want them to be happy, but that something obviously happens.
Well, you gotta.
Of course, now we know it's because of everything that happened with their son. Which, I mean, I know a lot of people. I'm sure there were people that were mad about the state of their relationship. But to be fair, you have to understand. Like, think as a parent, like, what do you go through as a parent when you have a kid that something that bad happens to them? That's the equivalent of your kid becoming a mass murderer, like a serial killer. Like, seriously. And it happens all the time, especially when parents lose children, like when their children die, like in a car accident or something.
Yeah.
Parents divorce all the time. It's really tragic because
they start blaming each other and shit.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't think that it would affect your personal relationship that much, but that's somebody that you created, that you've put your blood, sweat, and tears into raising and loving.
Well,
and when life happens and things go wrong, I mean, unfortunately, it does cause that. So I kind of, watching it now, I think I kind of like that kind of dynamic to show that they've been through a lot, but they still do love each other.
Well, a lot of it is their own fault too, and I hate to say that, but we got to start to understand that just because they're characters from the original trilogy that we loved, they still have flaws, and they're going to always have flaws to them. And we have to start to recognize that a lot of this was Han and Leia's fault too. And it's especially expanded on in the Bloodline novel that I'm telling you guys, you got to read this. It's awesome.
He's just plugging that Bloodline novel.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's amazing.
He wants to be sponsored.
You can buy that Bloodline novel below in the affiliate link.
No. I don't want to be sponsored necessarily, but a goal of mine is definitely to have Claudia Gray, the writer, on this, because I would love to talk to her someday. But
that would be dope.
It would be awesome.
That would be amazing. I'd have to tone my language down.
She's my favorite novelist in terms of in terms of Star Wars novels, she's the best. But the stories she wrote about, just how Leia was busy with politics, Han was off doing Han things. It's just how it was, and they gave their son up to Luke at a very young age, so it's going to be easy for Kylo Ren to turn to the dark side. It's not going to be hard. He's already damaged. He's already damaged. He's a broken character. And, something I wanted to bring up earlier, I guess I'll go ahead and bring it up now, is, no wonder he's attached to Rey. She is also a broken character. So, yeah, he's a little bit infatuated by her for that reason. And we see a lot of that moving into the interrogation scene with Rey, which I think is such a stark contrast to the interrogation scene that we had with Poe earlier in the movie. Poe, he just went all in on. With Rey, he's trying to treat her differently. It's where am I? You're my guest. You know what I mean? There's something to the way he's treating Rey. It's all laid out here in the movie. We just maybe didn't catch on to a lot of this foreshadowing. At first when we first saw this,
he definitely felt predatorial.
Yeah.
Yo, come to my side, bro. Like,
yeah,
you want this.
Yeah. It's, when she escapes, he reacts about the same, slashes the lightsaber through shit. but let's get into that. So, there were so many great lines here. There were so many great moments in this interrogation scene. Just even him taking off his helmet, which I think everybody in the theater was really shocked when he did this, because, we're so used to the villain, having his helmet on. Who we've missed, and we'll get to this in a second. We have missed Snoke, but we have to talk about it. We'll get to that in a second. But because he's coming up here again soon, so. But yeah, him interrogating Rey is just such a good scene. That I like one of my favorite lines that he does is when he starts to use the Force on her, and don't be afraid, I feel it too. I think that's such a good line. and everything he's delivering here. I think Kylo Ren, and this might be an unpopular opinion, while we were also excited about him, you know, because of his appearance and he looked badass and all that, I actually think in terms of like the performance, it works better without the helmet on, because it's you can really see, you know, a lot of the expressions in Adam Driver's face and everything is it's all going down here. And I mean, I just enjoy that about it. I like the part where he's like
Again, humanizing.
yeah, I imagine an ocean, you know, I see it, I see the I think this is all just good. And then Rey finally taps in and fights back, right? And one of the things that we know now is that, you know, she's starting to sense a lot of, she's getting into his mind. So she's going to learn a little bit about the Force here for the first time too. And this is going to start a cycle as well, you know, getting into his mind. And so she starts to go into his mind, and then she's you're afraid you'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. All this stuff is just awesome. Adam, what do you think? What do you got?
First of all, it's easier now, but at first in the theater, when he first took off his helmet, it was a little jarring. Because,
right, it's shocking too. It's jarring and shocking, yeah.
Because he's a badass character. Yeah. He just has this very dark, broken demeanor about him. And when he takes off his helmet, it's like, that's not how I imagined him looking. Because let's face it, nothing wrong with Adam Driver, but he's kind of a goofy looking dude. Like, he looks kind of odd. He has some odd features about him.
Yeah.
So when he first takes off his helmet, you're just kind of like, that's what this villain looks like?
Yeah. Why is your nose so big?
But, to be fair, would anybody really have been able to fill that? I mean, you have this dark, menacing, emotional character, and there really is no human face that could fill that void. That's why the mask is so menacing. So anybody under that helmet would have been slightly jarring. But I do remember in the theater, and I hadn't been really familiar with Adam Driver prior to this movie. So when I saw him for the first time, I was like, that kind of ruined it for me. That was kind of a boner kill. Like, I have this dark, badass character, and then he takes off his helmet, and it's just like this young, goofy-looking kid.
Yeah.
Now, you know, I'm familiar with Adam Driver, and of course, I love Kylo Ren, and I love Adam Driver as a character and as a human being.
Right.
I'm a big fan of his. So now it's less jarring now. But at the time, I was like, I kind of wish he just would have left the helmet on. It's like it's like a butterface. Just put it back.
Yeah. Yeah, now I think it's, I at the time definitely, but just now I think he works so much better without that damn thing as a character, because again, like Ian was saying, the humanizing and you know, really just you could definitely you could see the expression on the face now, and he really taps into those emotions when he's doesn't have the helmet on. And yeah, I mean, this is again something that they're doing very different than they did in A New Hope, you know. So when people say they're retreading, they're really not. There are so many different elements that we've brought up already. Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
I think him taking off his helmet is very powerful, because he takes off that helmet and you just want to see that menacing look.
Yeah.
But he takes it off and he has a friendly face.
Right.
Like, legit, he has a friendly face. The humanizing part. And I feel like that's so important to this part of the scene where he's trying to convert her. Because one, he has a friendly look on his face when he's talking to her too. Like, it's kind of neutral, but it's friendly in a sense. And he's like, yeah, you want to join the dark side. You know, you got friends like me. Hey, how's it going?
It's almost like an interrogation tactic, like how a cop would have you in the room with the two-way glass, and he'd take off his badge and loosen his tie and like scoot back and just be like, just talk to me. Like, it's kind of almost like a psychological tactic, but it definitely does humanize him. I like him with the helmet on a lot. I think he's badass. I think his helmet is awesome. The cloak that he wears, especially when he has the hood up,
it's all ragged and shit.
His whole character is just very rugged, very cool, very powerful feeling. I love the voice effect is very unique, very awesome. I enjoy listening to him talk when he's got his helmet on.
Oh yeah.
But the benefit to having the helmet on, not only do we humanize this kind of evil character, and put a face to it and make you relate to him more.
Yeah.
And it drives the story forward and gives you an emotional connection with the character. Whereas it's hard to have an emotional connection with somebody like Darth Vader because he doesn't really seem human to us when we watch it. We can relate to him after we've seen the prequels and we know his story as Anakin, but without seeing a human version, it is often hard to connect with the person. But now you've made a connection, and it really deepens the plot a little bit. And not only that, but it gives you the opportunity to appreciate Adam Driver's acting because you can hear his real voice and see his real reactions. And I think we see in the next movie, in the next couple movies, we see a lot of moments where he has some amazing moments that are very special and only would have been special with his helmet off.
Right,
where
exactly.
he just
1,000%.
yells and just spit flying out of his mouth, veins popping out of his head, just
pure anger.
I just like
I mean,
I think
go ahead, Ian.
I think what's fitting about Adam Driver's face being a part of this role as well is the fact that he kind of has this Dark Prince look to him.
I think what's fitting about Adam Driver's face.
No, but you're right, Ian. You're right.
Dark Prince look to
him. You know what? That's why it was so
Yeah.
jarring to me at first, because like the last movie I saw Adam Driver in, he was playing a much older looking character. You know, not like a younger looking Prince. He was playing a much older looking character in the movie I saw him in prior to watching this in the theater, and it was just like he's playing like a kid almost. It looks like in this one. Like what's going on? With him?
I really think they're trying to personify him to be like in his mid-20s in this movie.
Yeah.
So I mean, like all the emotion he's able to display, everything else, everything about his role is fitting for him.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for it at first. Like I thought he was just a little bipolar asshole, but I loved it.
I mean, everything obviously with Kylo Ren's look too, though, is obviously medieval inspired. I mean, even just from the cross lightsaber, you know, like it's got the sword design. I mean, it's obviously very medieval inspired, and it's I mean, it makes sense a lot of ways. But then moving into they're back at the Resistance. Finn, Leia, Poe. Finn finds out, I think, who Poe was, obviously, and he was so excited to see him alive. I love the moment these two just, broing down. He's so excited to see Poe. He's like, Poe Dameron. They hug each other. He's like, and then they just had this really nice moment. And then I like keep the jacket. It suits you. Poe's a good guy. Like you really fall in love with Poe right there because he's like, you completed my mission, Finn. And then I just thought all that stuff.
Really likable character.
Very likable. You want to hang out with this guy. You really do. And then he's like, he tells Finn he needs help because of Rey, and then they take him down. And he tells Leia, and Leia's like, I'm sorry to hear about your friend, but we need information from you if we're going to help you out at all. So then they go into this. They go into the thing to look at Starkiller Base. They're looking at the schematics essentially. This base on Dakar, by the way, it's another one of those things. Minor issue. I'm not going to spend a lot of time complaining, but it just looks too similar to Yavin 4 to me. You know what I mean? It's like one of those little minor things I have problems with, but whatever. It's fine. I mean, come on, does it look just like Yavin 4? I mean, let's be honest about it. I mean, small complaint. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But then this is the one thing that treads with New Hope that I have a problem with, and not because it's paying homage to New Hope. I'm okay with that. But then they describe Starkiller Base. It's basically the Death Star, but it's bigger now. It's like, come on, guys.
You think they would have learned after the first two?
Let's be honest here, though. Are we surprised? Now we know that Palpatine's behind this thing the whole time. Are we really that surprised?
That's true. He loves his Death Stars.
He loves those suckers.
Yeah.
He was like,
of death.
okay, we screwed up the first 2 times. This time
It's different.
it's gonna be bigger.
It's a possibility, but in my opinion, I have to believe at this point Palpatine's learned his lesson, and that Snoke was the one at least behind the Starkiller base.
We're gonna suck the power from the sun.
We're gonna blow up 5 planets this time.
I feel like that is kind of a flaw, though, in that this thing sucks the power from a nearby sun so that it can blast planets. So now it's destroying suns, which means this planet's going to be completely inhabitable because this solar system is no longer going to have a sun. So this whole planet's going to freeze over.
Well, I don't go to Star Wars for science fiction,
we have to touch on that, of course.
Scientific accuracy. Come on,
Star Wars has never been scientifically accurate in the slightest way. So anybody that has an issue with the science of these movies, you can just throw that take that opinion and throw it somewhere else, because the original trilogy was definitely not any better.
However, quit building fucking Death Stars. It's not working for you. I mean,
the first 2 didn't work, but let's do the third one. This one will work.
Okay, now let's take this opportunity to spitball here. Now, what would you do if you are spearheading this campaign and you're trying to establish dominance? What else are you really left with? You want to strike fear into the hearts of people, and destroying planets is about as big as you can go. So what else do you make? A really big ship? Well, you've kind of already done that in the Death Star. So how big do you go?
I don't know.
The only way to go is backwards. Killing planets is about the most vile thing that you can do.
You make a good point. I feel like I'll have an answer for it, but I just can't come up with anything now. But
I mean, like 3 of them. 3 of them. He's tried it 2 times before. Each time it's been destroyed. And it's like the same idea every single time. It just gets fucked over.
I mean, okay, fine. Build your Starkiller base, but quit making them to where they're so easy to fucking destroy.
Exactly.
That's fine, okay, but
Robot Chicken, not Robot Chicken. Family Guy touched on that so well.
Here's the thing. I like they did, but I like the idea of Starkiller base in general, because it's cool. They took over an entire planet to build Starkiller Base. That's why it's so big. They took over the planet of Ilum, which, by the way, if you've played Jedi Fallen Order, you get a glimpse of that. And I think we're going to see a lot of Ilum in The Mandalorian Season 2 as well. That snow planet that they show in there, I think that's Ilum, but we'll see. Just a quick fan theory. But yeah, they took over Ilum and they built Starkiller Base out of this entire planet. I like that idea. I just wish it wasn't so easy I wish we weren't doing this again, where it was like, there's a flaw in the system, we found it, and it's like, quit building these things so poorly. Like the first time they had an excuse because it was Galen Erso who built it, right? And so he put a flaw in there on purpose. And like after that, you don't have an excuse if you don't have a rebel building your thing, right? So it's just like, what's going on with that? And I like that concept. And I like the look of Starkiller Base, the snow all around, like that is awesome. That's amazing. Obviously, it made a great setting for an end fight, so I enjoy it in that way. And I think that the scenes where you're seeing the beams come down and about to destroy the planets, that's like horrifying to see those people, and they executed that very well. My only problem is they keep building them poorly. I guess is the whole thing. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's bigger if there's still a flaw in the center of it, like to where you can blow it up, but
they're just whatever. Like, here, you can kill it easy. Yeah. Just do this one thing. That's all you gotta do.
I think there's really not, to be fair, there isn't much of a way around it, because like I said, if you're in charge, what are you gonna do? You've already created something that destroys planets. Mm-hmm. You can't really go any bigger than that. So really the only option is to keep doing that, but do it in a more effective way,
I guess.
And what's more effective than building it into an actual planet? But I mean, people have issue with this, and it ruins the whole sequel trilogy to them. But to be fair, to be fair, the originals had the same problem. I mean, it shouldn't have really been done twice. At least this time they did it in a completely new way. What did they do in the original trilogy? They built the same damn thing. Not only did they build the same damn thing, but they didn't even finish it. The whole back end was off of it. Right. And they put their two most powerful people, you had Sidious and Darth Vader, in an unfinished space station with the whole back exposed. It's literally it's a nightmare. Why would you even do that? At that least they built it out of a planet which should be more stable this time.
At that point, they were literally just like, got a quarter done. They're like, that's good enough. Let's get inside.
Let's get inside. It's good enough. They blew the whole thing up last time with it completely built, but you know, we're gonna press our luck this time, and we're gonna get in it when it's halfway done.
Yeah, I guess I get what you're saying, and I'll have to think about it. And hey, maybe Mandalorian expands on this, and I appreciate it more later. You know what I mean? Maybe they go to Ilum and they expand on kind of how this was all found and everything. Yeah, it could be pretty cool.
I'm a heretic. I have not finished Mandalorian yet.
One of the things I hate about the scene when they're going over the schematics and the blueprints, by the way, is this stupid fucking word that keeps getting repeated: oscillator. I hate that word because it sounds like somebody's trying to say isolator and they can't. They're just using an accent.
Well, don't go to audio engineering school. Oscillator. You'll hear oscillator plenty.
Hate that word. Go ahead.
It's a very common word in audio engineering. So don't do that as a career. You'll hear it often.
Ian, you were saying something?
I don't remember.
Okay, Adam. Even better. Adam.
I kind of forgot where I was going. I was gonna say something and I kind of forgot about it.
Well, I don't remember what you were saying.
I'll touch on a different point. And I'm gonna rewind like way back to the crawl. It seems obvious from the crawl now, knowing what we know now, and especially seeing the Star Killer base and all of that. It seems obvious now that Palpatine was behind this whole thing. I mean, doesn't it? Because when you read the crawl, what do we have? The First Order has come about, which has replaced the Empire, and they're pretty much the same as the Stormtroopers and everything. It feels very similar. And it just on a bigger scale, they're just more angry and being more forceful about it. And what is their mission? Well, they need to finally eliminate the Jedi. They're trying to hunt down Luke. It's literally carrying on the exact same thing that the Emperor was trying to do in the originals. And now you've got the Star Killer base, which is basically a bigger, more bulkier, more badass version of the Death Star.
Right.
So watching this over again now, and I'm thinking to myself, it was kind of obvious that the Emperor was behind this. How did none of us guess that?
Yeah, you're right.
We played ourselves.
It's a good assessment.
We did, it's like they hid it in plain sight. Like, I didn't hear any theories where people were like, yeah, it's the Emperor.
Yeah, and what's wild is like, in myself and many other Star Wars fans read the canon novelization. If you read those, there is contingency plan for the Emperor written all over those because you dive into what the Emperor was doing during that time in a lot of them. And it's like nobody came up with that. They did a good job hiding that somehow. Hiding it in plain sight. Yeah,
Seriously.
How none of us came up with it, I have no idea. It wasn't until, oh my gosh, right before like the trailer came out for Rise of Skywalker, I finally did some thinking and I was like, I wonder if Palpatine's gonna come back. Like, it wasn't until then that I thought of that idea, and then I like talked myself out of it right before watching that for the trailer. I was like, nah.
At the end of episode 7, you hear his laugh.
No, you don't.
I thought you did.
No.
Which one was it that you hear his laugh at the end?
You hear it in a trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the end of.
That was the big giveaway. I was at school.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I was at school in Arizona when that trailer dropped. I was out in the hallway and had a bunch of freaking audio nerds crowded around my phone watching the trailer, and we heard the laugh, and everybody's like, "Oh,
yeah,
ooh."
Yeah." I had the opportunity to place a bet on Palpatine coming back, but then I ended up going with a different character coming into it. Into episode 9. I was dumb, man. I could have bet on Palpatine and made some money. Yeah. Damn it.
Oh, I was going to say the thing that I forgot to say about repeating the whole Death Star thing over and over. It really isn't too surprising when you think about it, because think of what criminals do. Criminals usually get arrested for the same thing over and over and over. Even really smart criminals, they do the same thing. You even look at people like really vile, evil people that have lived, like Hitler. Like, what do? They carry out the same plans. They'll lose a battle. They'll do the same thing in a different way in a different place. They just keep carrying because they have a mission that they have to do. And here, their mission is to take control of the galaxy and strike fear into the hearts of people.
Yeah.
And how are you going to do that without doing it on a really big scale?
That's a fair point.
So to be fair, it has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. The Death Star was pretty big. They'd built a second Death Star, which really was pretty much the same as the first Death Star, just not completed. So this time, at least they went on a much bigger scale, and they're not just destroying one planet. They're destroying like 5 or 6 at one time. So I think it really doesn't fall far from looking at what other evil people have done in real history. I mean, you have a mission that you have to carry out, and if you fail, you do it again. You just do it in a different way, and they did that. I would be interested to hear what people like. Legitimately, do people have ideas? Like, what would you do instead of a Death Star or a Star Killer? Like, what do you do to take control of the galaxy? That's really the best thing to do. I mean, how else do you do it? You're not going to put boots on the ground and do it person by person.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I would like to hear that. Yeah,
I have a way to do this.
Yeah.
You fuck their dads. Go on.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Hot take.
Yeah.
That's how you prove dominance.
No, I was laughing.
That's a choice.
I was laughing earlier because I remember Adam when I was talking to you at FYE though. Like a long time ago. I remember this is when we first got the announcement that JJ was going to be directing Rise of Skywalker. I said, Adam, what do you think of JJ director Rise of Skywalker? And I remember your response going, you were like, well, if I see another Death Star, I'm gonna be pissed. And I was like, that's a good point.
You don't seem too pissed about it now.
Well, you didn't do it again.
Well, you didn't do it again. They didn't do it a 4th time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so where were we? So Ray,
I don't know. We're like halfway through this movie.
No, we're
halfway through this movie.
Done. We're getting toward the end. Ray's on Star Killer Base. She's trying to find a way to escape the interrogation room. This is the Daniel Craig's little cameo as a stormtrooper. Pretty cool to have him in there. Yep. I love his little line. She's like, you will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open. I love Daniel Craig comes up. I'll tighten those restraints. Scavenge your skull. I think that's like one of the best lines you've ever heard. What a badass stormtrooper. And then he's like, I know
that he was there.
Yep. And then she's like, you'll remove these restraints, leave the cell with the door open. And then he's like, I'll remove these restraints, leave the cell with the door open. And you'll drop your weapon. And I'll drop my weapon. I thought that stuff was like, it worked really well.
That was a funny moment.
It really was.
I laughed.
It was.
Yeah. And then she escapes. Kylo finds out, and then he's smashing up shit. Even funnier moment, 2 stormtroopers walking up, hear the noise,
oh, yes.
hear the ruckus, they just turn right back around.
Which gave birth to that SNL skit. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, let's mention Snoke before we forget here. So Kylo runs in there with, I think it's Hux. He's like, she's strong with the Force, untrained but stronger than she knows. And then Snoke is like doing that thing. Snoke is irritated. By the way, when you first saw Snoke in the movie, what do you think of his appearance, guys, and all that?
I wanted it so bad to be Windu.
Okay, Adam.
I really did.
Okay.
There was theories that
pepper spray Windex.
Yeah, there were also theories he was the stormtrooper that clunked his head in A New Hope. Like, anyway.
What?
Yeah, he has a gash right there. Why not? Anyway, Adam, go ahead.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, I was a part of the crowd that immediately started trying to figure out who is this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And all the fan theories and everything, I wanted him to be Plagueis so bad. So bad. Even still, I kind of wish that he was Plagueis. I think that would have made a great spin on the story. I'm fine with the way it went, but I think it would have been really badass if it was Plagueis.
All right, so we got Windu, Plagueis. I was one of those that drank the Kool-Aid on the Jar Jar theory at first. Like, I thought it maybe.
You totally did. You
Yeah.
kept trying to convince me that it was Jar Jar,
And listen,
I'm like, dude, you're crazy.
We
I'm
all
still convinced.
Listen, guys, we all drank the Kool-Aid, but when you rewatch this movie, were they really setting him up to be anything? Be honest.
No,
No.
not at all. They kind of set him up as a big hand. That's about it. And then after that, like you get to the seventh one, and you're like, what the fuck?
So to me, it's like, again, it was an expectation thing. It's like, I mean, when you really think about it, it's like we're asking for something they never promised. They really didn't.
I think they did it that way on purpose because it was really easy to make theories about him.
Yeah.
I think it felt like a setup to me because they didn't reveal anything about him. They just put him there and they didn't even show him in person. So
Nope.
they knew what they were doing. They opened up this Pandora's box where they're like, oh, people are going to go crazy over this. We're not going to say anything about him. We're just going to put him on the screen every now and then. And he's the guy that's pulling all the strings. We're not even going to show him in real life. And we're going to make him real big on the screen. It's like, it felt like a breeding ground for conspiracy.
And it's possible.
They obscured our view.
Well, listen, JJ likes to do that with the mystery boxes, and that might be the case that he likes to play around. But then on the same hand, when you're really watching it, it doesn't need to be anybody, you know, like it's not like it needs to be somebody massive. Like to me, like when I rewatch it now, no, I said at first, like I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm like, who is this, you know? And that's because we all got together as fans and we came up with something. And yeah, sure, JJ likes his mystery boxes, so he throws that shit open. But the way I look at it at the end of the day is when I'm rewatching this, I'm like, he never really said that was going to be anybody. Like nothing was implied when I'm really watching it again.
My question is why though? Why Snoke in the first place?
Well,
obviously to surprise fans at the end of the trilogy. But other than that reason aside, pretend that the surprise.
I actually disagree with you on that point because, well, no, I think that, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that JJ, had he kept going, wouldn't have done more with Snoke because he might have. He might have thought Ryan was going to do more with Snoke when Rian Johnson took over, but I can see Rian Johnson just having nothing but the script, reading this and saying, well, he's kind of useless. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. So you could look at it. It really depends on, you know, I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So it really depends on how you're looking at this.
I have a hard time believing that JJ made this movie and then the keys were handed to Rian Johnson and then he was like, oh, I'm going to write this. And then JJ was like, oh, that's what he did. I'm going to write this. You know, they're not going to plan for a trilogy before knowing what's going to happen and having a roadmap. You know, they all had to have collaborated on this.
If I'm being honest, I mean, there was some stuff that was, well, listen, I mean, Ryan gave JJ the script and JJ signed off on, okay, you know what I mean? And that was JJ's fault, you know what I mean? If he wanted to do something more with Snoke, JJ should have said, please don't do that to Snoke, you know what I mean? Because I had bigger plans for him. Yeah, so it's not that they didn't collaborate. There were conversations. I just think that Ryan ultimately said, you know, I want to kill this guy, you know? And that was his decision, I think. And I think JJ signed off on it. Kathleen Kennedy signed off on it. Everybody at Lucasfilm signed off on it. That was his idea, I think, and they just signed off on it because they were like, yeah, now that we look at it, this is kind of a useless character. And not only that, and we could save this for the Last Jedi review, Ryan used the killing of Snoke to raise an interesting thing with Kylo Ren, right? To bring Kylo Ren to power. So that's what, you know, he used that for. And that was Snoke's ultimate purpose and you know, way to fulfill. And the other thing is we have our expectations so set on everything has to be something because we've been spoiled to the prequels, in my opinion, to where Palpatine, you know, now we have a backstory. But if we were just watching the original trilogy, it's like Palpatine, we had no backstory on him, you know what I mean? He wasn't anything. But anyway, go ahead.
My point was, what was the purpose of using Snoke instead of just saying, make it the Emperor, other than surprising the fans? If surprising the fans is not even a factor, why couldn't it have been the Emperor the whole time? Because like you said, Snoke was kind of expendable. He wasn't anybody. So what was the point of using him at all? He was just like a fake character.
Well,
I mean, why wasn't the Emperor just showing
I mean, think
up?
about it like this. So, God, I was about to say Plagueis. Palpatine was like destroyed. Like when we see him at the end of 9,
Right.
we know he's destroyed. He's decrepit.
Right.
Who's going to follow somebody who looks like they're absolutely destroyed?
Right.
I mean, but Snoke doesn't look too great himself either.
He doesn't either. But
He looks like a hot turd.
Through Palpatine's control, he's still strong. So I feel like that it was definitely a ploy to protect Palpatine, as like essentially like Snoke is your secret service. Snoke is there as like your replacement, your secret service, just in case anything happens. There you go, you have that. And we know Palpatine didn't want to die, but Palpatine knew that.
But it was like, to me, the majority of this trilogy, you don't even see Snoke in person. He's a hologram. So that's why I'm saying, why couldn't it have been the Emperor? Nobody would know where he is. Nobody would know how to find him. He's a hologram. You don't know how strong or weak he is. You just see his appearance. So why couldn't it have been? And I'm not saying that I have a huge issue with this. I'm just saying theoretically,
I'm going to be very honest.
Not?
This is one of the things that on one way they kind of dropped the ball on. Because if you want my honest theory from a behind the scenes perspective, I genuinely feel like Snoke, they didn't know what they were going to do with him yet. I genuinely feel that way. And I think that it wasn't until Ryan came in that he was like, hey, how about we do this? How about to give Kylo Ren an edge, we kill this guy off and we use him for that purpose. That's what I think actually happened behind the scenes. I think that, it was a possibility he was going to be Plagueis or Nihilus or Darth Revan or whoever from the past legacy that they just didn't know. And then Ryan had a cool, new, unique idea that nobody would be expecting. And that's why they ended up going with that. Because there was an interview, hold on one second, Ian. There was an interview at Comic-Con a long time ago where if you could find this footage where JJ a fan had asked about who's Snoke going to be, in the audience, and no, sorry, a fan had asked asked the cast and J.J. Abrams, are we ever going to see any more of Darth Plagueis or hear anything more about Darth Plagueis? And Daisy Ridley, you'll see, she starts to say, is that Snoke? And then J.J. jumps in, damage control, right? Like, wait, hold on, like
Daisy, shut your fucking mouth.
He's like, did you say Darth Vegas? Like, what are you talking about? Just to try to distract it. Because, and I think that the honest reason is because they did not know what they were going to end up doing with Snoke. And I feel like
that was a deflection tactic.
Right.
I feel like they were just trying to fool the audience.
Oh, maybe.
Mayhaps.
We'll make her slip up and make it really feel real, and then the whole audience will take it and run.
I'm sorry, Ian.
They really won't expect it.
You had a point you were trying to make. Go ahead.
So, I feel like it's also a power move on Palpatine's point to have Snoke there to die. Now that we're kind of on the whole line of Snoke, so we know. So, I feel like there's some history behind that too, because Palpatine talks to Anakin in the third movie, third movie, about how almost every Sith has killed his master, and there's always two Sith lords, and there's never more. So it makes, even though there are more, but it makes a lot of sense that he uses Snoke as a Sith Lord and uses him as Rilo Kin's journey to becoming a Sith Lord.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, again, if you look at this it's a possibility. I mean, I just think that if you look at this from a certain perspective and after rewatching it, it's like, it's no big deal. He's really not that big a deal. That's all I was trying to say.
No,
and
he's not.
At the end of the day, I mean, they did use him for a purpose. It just might not have been the purpose we all thought it was going to be, and that's our fault as fans for thinking we're going to get something that was never promised to us. That's all I'm trying to say.
Might have not even been a purpose they understood was going to be.
Right.
I have a hard time,
Ryan.
I just have a hard time believing that they made this up as they went. Like, as big as Disney is,
I'm not saying they did.
Like, if you know anything about movie business, like they want a plan. They want to know what's going to happen. They want to know that you know what's going to happen.
I think there was a plan.
So it's, I don't know. It seems peculiar to me sometimes that they had planned from the start that, hey, we're going to put Snoke in, but he really isn't going to be somebody. And to me, I think he very easily could have been replaced with the Emperor, and you could just make it the Emperor the whole time.
Well, here's my theory in terms of planning. I think that, I mean, it's basically been said that, well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, JJ says that Palpatine was the plan from the beginning, but who knows? But the thing is like, for me, it's like, I think with Ryan, there was a little more chance to throw some caution to the wind just a little bit, because it is the second film in the trilogy, and there's really like, I mean, it doesn't, you know what I mean? He had the chance to experiment. So I think with Rian Johnson's movie, the difference was he had a lot more creative say and control, being the middle chapter. That's all I think. I think the thing he had to get, though, in terms of the plan, was Rey and Kylo Ren. And I think Snoke, it was more or less like, okay, Ryan, what do you think? What should we do here? Because, you know, like, or maybe they had a plan, and then Ryan was like, what if we do this instead? And they just liked Rian Johnson's idea better. They gave Rian Johnson a lot of creative control. I'll tell you, Adam, watch that Director and Jedi documentary. It answers a lot of your questions about what happened with the middle film. I mean, it's on Disney Plus. Check it out. But before we do that review, I recommend it. But I'm telling you, like, Ryan got a lot of creative control when it came to Last Jedi. Like, there's no doubt about it. But I think the one thing he had to get right was Rey and Kylo Ren. Like, these two had to have a connection somehow. I feel like that was more the plan. Go ahead, Ian.
I agree with that last statement.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about with writing in movies and stuff like that, and making trilogies, and usually things that have books involved with them. So like, I'm going to use some like anime as an idea here, because a lot of anime, like manga artists and people who use anime, what they'll do is they'll make a roadmap of ideas, not like a roadmap they're going to follow, but a roadmap of ideas that they're going to use as the story goes to help them progress their story. So I feel like what happened was, whenever they came up with the idea for the next trilogy, because they knew there was going to be a trilogy, there's no way they didn't. I feel like what happened was they laid out a list of ideas and played just as an idea, but Snoke was there, and they just kind of had circled Snoke and said, we don't know what to do with that. We'll see what we can do. I feel like that's what happened with that.
Right.
I feel like they were trying to see how the story went, but I do believe there was a roadmap.
Yeah, it's either they didn't have an idea for Snoke, or they did, and Ryan came up with something better something that they liked better. I don't know. Whatever the case, it happened. But anyway, moving on into Oh, okay. Moving on. I thought Ian had something to say.
No.
Okay. All right. So moving on, we are here, and then where are we at? So then Han and Finn are coming over to Starkiller Base, and then this is one of the funnier parts. What did you do exactly when you were stationed here? He's like, sanitation. And then Chewie does that little, and it's like, oh really? You're cold? You know, all that stuff is very funny. And then them going into the Starkiller Base, and then they find Phasma. I like Han's little, do you have a trash compactor or something like that? Or is there a trash compactor, Finn? Yeah, there is, you know. So then so they put Phasma in the trash compactor. I guess that's what we're to assume. Finn is pretty good here too with the I'm in charge now, Phasma. I'm in charge. I like Han's my friend brought explosives, you know, we should use them. All that stuff is really fun too. Once they find Rey, and then Rey
the best part.
Well, we're getting there.
I know that's what I'm
then they're setting the explosives, and then Han's walking on the bridge and sees Kylo Ren, and here we go, Ben, he yells Ben, and then you know, Ben comes over, is like, your son is dead, you know, and Han says something like, your son is alive, you know what I mean, or something like that, or my son is alive. Pulls out the saber. I know what I have to do, you know, but I don't know if I had the strength to do it. Stabs Han Solo, kills him. So what do you guys think of Han's death? What did you think in the theater? How's it going? I'll start with you, Adam.
Tragic.
Yeah.
It's still upsetting. It was tragic at the time. It was very sad. I still get sad when I watch it. You know, that being said, we've got to get rid of these characters at some point.
Yeah.
They've got to go at some point. They have to make way for the new story. They can't stay forever.
Yeah.
And I think that was a big nail in the coffin for a lot of people that don't like this trilogy, was that they killed Han.
Yeah.
And to those people, I guess I say, you gotta stop living in a fantasy world. These aren't your Disney princess movies. People die. Characters have to die. They have to make way for the future, for new things. And let's be honest, that's how real life works. In real life, people don't always make it to happily ever after and carry off in a carriage to the sunset.
Right.
Like, people die. Bad things happen.
All right.
And that's how it has to be. And how would you want Han to go? I mean, it's never going to be pleasant. It's somebody that we all care about. But I will say, Harrison Ford himself didn't object to this idea.
All right. And
like we had said before, he does have an attachment to this character.
Right.
And I think this is something that fans need to really listen to. And I wrote down this quote that he said. Somebody asked him about Han dying in an interview, and he said, "I figured that his utility had been exhausted, bled out, and I was willing to die for the cause, to bring some gravitas." He was willing to kill off the character to propel the new story forward. He wanted to kill off Han so in a way that would propel the story forward. And that was something that was important to him.
Let the other characters grow.
Right. It causes growth in the story. And he's also made it very clear that he trusts J.J. Abrams. He has a good relationship with J.J. Abrams, and he supports what JJ has done in this trilogy. He has said that he trusts JJ. He has said that. And when JJ came to him in the final film, and he literally said, this was him trying to get Harrison Ford to make an appearance again. He said, "Harrison, I've got this idea. It's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I want you to do it." And Harrison Ford said, "Okay." That's all it took, because he trusted him, because he trusted him with where he was taking this story. And I think if Harrison Ford can trust that there was a reason that Han was dying, and he could be okay with it, and he could give it his stamp of approval, and he could put his trust in J.J. Abrams and say, I trust where he's going with this story. I think that all of us should be able to accept that and move on and say that J.J. had a vision for this, and people trusted him for it, and they let him do it. People more important than us in this series, more attached to this series, they agree with him and they trust him on this. So I think we need to take it how it is, because that's how real life is. Bad things happen in real life, and you have to roll with the punches. You just have to go, so treat this like real life. In real life, if somebody dies, we can't say, no, that doesn't work for me, let's rewind that back. Like, no, we don't get to do that. So this is the story. This is how it goes. What if these characters were real and Han died and you knew Han? Well, that's too bad. He's gone. That's how the cards fell. So
Ian, Han's
deal with it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the movie scenes of it. I think Adam touched on everything that I would have touched on myself. I think he touched on it very well.
Me too.
So when we're breaking down the scene itself, pretty much, let's just cut down to the depths of it. Ben saying, "Will you help me?" So a lot of people have different theories about it and all this stuff, but I hands down think that this scene was very heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, and it's because of the actions made in this small little part of their conversation. Your cat looks so pissed.
Literally the worst place to sit.
Your cat looks so mad. But anyway,
go ahead.
So the conversation, everything, being said between them leading up to the point where he says, "Will you help me?" I feel like the reason why Han presses the button to ignite the saber is because he knows that if he doesn't do it, Ben's not going to do it. And if Ben doesn't do it, Ben's dead. Ben's dead. Which leads me back to, I think that the direction was fantastic of this movie, down to its very core. not the second movie. I hated the second movie, but I feel like that scene was very powerful, and I feel like it had a lot of purpose, and I feel like Han's death was satisfactory, even though it shouldn't be. It hurt right, it hurt well, and it progressed the story very well.
Yeah. This is one of those scenes in the theater. I mean, obviously there was a sadness. It's Han Solo's death, and he died in a bad way. So there's obvious sadness. I mean, as far as the theory goes about who pushed the button, it's almost like going back to who shot first with Han, right? It's like I think maybe it was a two-way street here. I mean, especially knowing the things we know now in the future films, maybe I don't know. I don't know that Han wanted to die. I think it makes more sense to me that it was more important for Han to turn Ben back to the good side, but he also wants to give his son relief from pain. So who the hell knows? You know what I mean? And who cares? We could debate that all day. And I don't think it really matters, honestly, at the end of the day. I think at the end of the day, his father did something good for his son, even if just for the moments, you know what I mean? And it helped his son later on down the line, because when his son thinks back to what his father did for him. I feel that said, I don't mind that Han died. Like, I think it made sense, but I do have problems with the scene when I think about, like, it just felt like they were trying to make this unpredictable. And I got to say, even watching this in the theater, I saw this coming from a mile away. Like, it was going to happen. Like, and it was one of those things, but it's a very minor problem. I still think it's impactful in the sense that you're watching Han Solo die. It's just one of those things. It's like, oh, I saw this coming. So,
I think it definitely drives the character progression. I think it drives it really well for Ben himself. Now,
and hold on. Let me say one more thing too, because I remember in the theater watching the scene in terms of Adam Driver's acting. I was like, this is the moment. I was like, man, this guy's a really talented actor. The way he was conflicted with his emotions. But anyway, go ahead, Ian. I wanted to make sure I mentioned that.
I mean, you kind of touched base on that. I really think that he did do a great job. But I really think that it was a moment in time where Han Solo knew it was pretty much a choice where he had to help him make to save Ben from certain death from the dark side.
Yeah, possibly.
I was gonna say, Dom, in response to predictability, I didn't feel that they were trying to make it unpredictable. I think most people knew what was happening. They played it in a way to give you. They played it in a way to where you kind of knew that something was happening, but they gave it this feeling to where it gave you a little glimpse, like, oh, maybe he's turning back. They dangled a carrot in front of your face, like. Yeah. Maybe Kylo's going to come home with him. Maybe it's going to be okay. But everybody in the theater knew what was going to happen.
Right.
People, and I went to the first showing, so nobody knew. But everybody in the theater, people were going, no. Like, I heard people talk. People were making noises. We knew. They were just, I feel like they were just trying to dangle a carrot in front of your face and make you think different from the inevitable, which was he's gonna die and there's nothing we can do about it. And I think that made it even more tragic to me, was that you kind of saw it coming from a mile away. There was no other way it could have gone.
And I guess I guess there is always, on the off chance that he did live through that, you know what I mean? There is always that chance when you're first watching it. It's small.
And then he comes back for a spin-off series.
Exactly.
90-year-old Harrison Ford.
Anyway, but then Chewie right here though, moving into it, like Chewie just gets that shot in, which is Chewie's yell is heartbreaking, but then he gets the shot in. Oh my god! Then he gets the shot in, which is like awesome that he gets the shot in on Kylo, and then Rey's yell is actually pretty heartbreaking too. Then they're all running out into the snow, and then by the way, this is all intertwined with the space battle that's going on in order to take down Starkiller Base, which I like the fact that we're seeing Poe Dameron with some skill, but I just find this to be one of the weaker space battles in all Star Wars, honestly. I think it's a little crowded. I don't think we're really spending a lot of time with people, but like, I don't know. I just found the space battle to be very crowded. What do you guys think of the space battle that this is all being intertwined with?
Not memorable.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, I was
gonna
gonna say I don't really have any standout moments. I was so focused on what was happening on the ground.
Yeah. It's nothing like Return of the Jedi or Rogue One space battle, or it's nothing memorable like that.
I don't know that it was.
Jedi.
I don't know. Just my opinion on what I think maybe they were doing. I don't think that anything was happening. I don't know. I think we knew that what they were doing was big and what was important.
Yeah.
But the real focus was what's happening on the ground.
It's true,
So
but
they probably knew that, so they were focusing more on what was happening on the ground and just keeping tabs on what's happening in the ship.
You're not entirely wrong, but come on, defender of the big Starkiller base. I mean, if you're going to make a bigger base, then at least have a bigger fucking battle, right? I mean, then the trench run, because the trench run is awesome in the New Hope. Like, why wouldn't you do something on the same level? I don't know.
See, this is how I feel about it. I feel like the ground battle definitely, like what's going on the ground definitely outweighed what was going on the outside. But I feel like at this point, the space battle was there just to help progress what was going on.
Yeah.
Like it was there to just say, hey, they're trying to take it over. They're trying to, do their mission. But we know what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But we got to make sure that we include what's going on the
You're
outside
not
world.
wrong,
Just so
but like it just in retrospect, maybe in the theater I didn't mind it, but like in retrospect, it's like, I would have liked something a little more expansive in the space battle. That's all.
I don't know how they would have.
Agree.
I don't know how they would have correctly played that, honestly, because we were all invested in what was happening on the ground. Like we were very invested.
Of course.
So it's like if you make the space battle too long, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, that's great, but there's something good that's happening on the ground. Like we want to focus on this. So at the time, even watching it now, I found myself completely ignoring what was happening in the space battle.
Because it's not a good space battle.
Like I want to know what's happening on the ground. Like this is the pressing issue. I don't care about the spaceships. I don't care about that. The problem is when it's over and you finally get your resolution on the ground, you go, oh shit, they blew this place up.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, well, wait a second. When did that happen?
Yeah.
Because you were so focused on what was happening on the ground, you just glossed over the space.
Yeah,
battle.
and that's how I feel. It's just like they could have done maybe a little bit more that was memorable. Just maybe a couple more character moments, even if that's what it took. But I don't know. They don't pay me to write these things, so. But
it would have been tremendously longer if they would have done it in a way we would have been.
It's kind of a
with.
short.
The movie would have had to be longer.
Maybe, but
I feel like at that point it would have killed our attention span for it.
Maybe. I don't know.
They would have just had to been more creative with how they did it.
Just saying it's forgettable space battle. That's all. But then there's the ground scene, which is the big stuff, the stuff that's awesome. I mean, obviously the setting is amazing. Them walking up and Kylo, yelling traitor is awesome, to Finn. And then he's like that. He pushes Rey against the tree, and that lightsaber belongs to me. And then Finn igniting, come get it, and then they.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. It's all the best stuff. I mean, then Kylo and Finn are going at it. I think this fight is awesome. And then he takes down Finn, gives him a good old slash in the back. Then Rey comes in with no. Let's wait, because then Kylo's trying to get the saber out of the ground, which is a nice little homage to Luke almost trying to get the saber out of the snow. But you think Kylo's gonna get it. Now this is the one thing in the theater. It surprised me. I did not expect Rey to catch this on the other side. Not gonna lie to anybody. I really did not. Watching this in the theater, and then it goes, and then
I didn't either.
It lands in her hand, and then I thought maybe Luke, but would show up here or something, if anything. But
we all wanted it to be Luke.
Right.
Oh yeah, we definitely did.
But when in retrospect, the way they played this was amazing. I mean, the thing goes past, hits it, lands right into Rey's hand, and then the music, the Force theme,
it brings a different dynamic to the Force that I feel like we're not familiar with, because it's almost like the lightsaber is being partial.
Yeah.
It called out to Rey,
right,
and then when Kylo reaches for it, it resists, and it doesn't come.
Right.
And then it comes to her instead and flies across him.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a completely different dynamic of the Force that we haven't seen before.
Exactly.
In the sense that a lightsaber is actually partial to who is owning it.
Ian?
when we bring it in that perspective, I feel like it plays out like this. It has Luke's will,
Yeah,
and like by bloodline,
that's
yes,
a good point.
Kylo needs it. Like that's by bloodline, that's Kylo's. But if we look at the dynamic of like what Luke's will is and how the lightsaber is deciding to be partial to Rey, I think it knows that Rey has good in her, like the really strong light side, and it knows that she is the more powerful Jedi.
It's such a good point. Yeah, I mean, it is possible. I mean, I could look at it that way, and yeah, I dig it. I mean, I dig that idea. So the fight itself, though. I mean, pretty awesome stuff. I mean, yeah, Ray's missed it a lot. And I wanted to bring up, speaking of the score, though, too, because John Williams' score is great here. I didn't mention Ray's theme, by the way, that gets introduced in this movie, which I think is one of the more iconic themes in all Star Wars now. I really think Ray's theme is great. It gets brought up in here quite a bit. This is a great fight. And then we get down to the part where they're crossing sabers. He has Ray bent over a cliff, and then this is I love the colors here and the shots and everything, and then you know, the Force, and then the collars,
the blue and the red.
Yeah,
so nice.
Yeah,
so nice. These shots,
those colors are great.
No, don't get on. Okay.
Bye.
These shots are beautiful, and this is something that pops in multiple times in this movie. There is a consistent theme between red and blue. You see it, you know, you see it in their ship, especially when Kylo is present.
Yeah.
You see that there is red and there is blue. It's like a good and an evil sort of dynamic.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it's beautiful lighting wise. I think it's almost subliminal in the storytelling.
Yeah.
I like it so much because red and blue are two of my favorite colors on screen in terms of lighting and color grading, cinematography. We're so used to getting teal and orange is a huge cinematography thing. Everybody's always coloring their movies with teal and orange, and I think the red and teal or the red and blue is just it's a beautiful look. It's cool because
it's
you
more
don't see it quite as often. Because they go together really well. They're like they clash in your eye. So it's I don't know. It's cool, and I like how they use it in this movie.
Yeah, I do too, man. It's done really, really well. But going into the fight overall, Ian, what do you just think of the lightsaber moment duel? I mean, how does it kind of rank in your overall, you know, kind of Star Wars duels? And
I'm not sure. I think this is the saber that changed colors, isn't it?
Changed colors.
Yeah, it wasn't originally green.
No, it's blue.
It's always been blue. Even in like A New Hope and all that.
Yeah. New Hope, Empire, it's been blue.
I thought it was green.
Luke gets a green one in Return of the Jedi, but it's not this one.
Oh, okay.
Because he lost it in Cloud City when he was fighting Vader.
Cloud City, it falls down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a set.
Which is why it's a mystery where Maz found this lightsaber, because it fell out in Cloud City.
God damn it, JJ.
Prophetic badass. But anyway, no. Overall, I thought this lightsaber was bad. Like this, not lightsaber. This lightsaber duel was badass.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, the coordination was on point. The acting was great. That whole combat that people were mad about Rey having comes out and flourishes really well. And it shows that she's still a bit of an amateur, but shows that she's still a badass. Like
she's not a Mary Sue. Everybody keeps saying she's a Mary Sue. She's not a Mary Sue. She had prior training with a staff that carries over to a lightsaber. She has the Force. Not only that, but she makes mistakes.
She does.
She's not perfect at it.
She does show she's an amateur.
And he's injured.
Yes.
Twice.
Yeah.
She's got two injuries.
Yeah.
So I feel
she holds her own.
Yes, I agree.
Nothing more.
That lightsaber duel, it's badass. I mean, like, it shows both of them trying their best for what they're given at that moment.
And I think, you know, I mean, also, you know, the actors worked really hard. I mean, I think with the exception of a couple little moments, this is all them in the moment. I think there was a couple little moments where they couldn't do the stunts. Like she does this like really insanely impressive somersault in this one moment. Obviously that wasn't her, but like for the most part the scenes were the actors in the moments, and they do a good job doing their own stunt work, especially for, I mean, you know, Daisy Ridley being a new actress to this. I mean, she worked really hard to pull this off, I think, and I mean they both did. Let's give them both credit. And
the stunts and the cinematography are all on point.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I like when Ray comes in. I mean, if you notice, there's a couple times she does like and people pointed to this like really early on that, you know, Ray does a little Palpatine stab here, like that little stabby movie did. When she taps into the Force, she taps into the Force, and then I like the little move she does. I like when she kicks him, and I like the move she does when she spins the saber around and gives him the gash, and it's all really cool stuff. And then finally she just. Yeah, I mean it's over pretty much once they blow the place up and they're separated, and Ray takes off with the Falcon. Finn's injured. They get back to the car, and then she, you know, kisses Ray on the forehead, or she kisses Finn on the forehead. Says, you know, we'll see each other again one day, I promise. Which, by the way, I mean, I remember that being a thing. Is like, is Finn gonna live? Is Finn dead? You know, I remember that being a thing.
He got
amongst
hit
fans.
up the back with a lightsaber.
Yeah, like
I don't know
it's
how
pretty
lived.
badass. I'd say he shows he's a badass by surviving.
absolutely. And then R2D2 conveniently turns on, right? I think I missed that earlier, but yeah, he conveniently
That's
turns
my
on.
favorite moment.
Yeah, I know.
You shut your mouth at him. I feel it.
No, Adam,
Nobody
that's his
cheered
favorite
because we
character.
had seen him once before, and
Right.
I was over here like,
Yeah, finally he's up, right?
I mean, the moment I saw him get up, I got excited. I was like, yes.
Oh yeah, no, I was excited about it. I don't remember clapping and doing that, but I mean, I was excited to see him. I mean, it's R2, man. He's
If I
awake
ever
again.
saw you do that, that'd be
I
really-
just
that'd be
thought it
weird.
was weird how he conveniently turns up, right? And then he has the other piece of the map, but whatever. R2, he's sassy, right? He's a savage. I can accept it. Then he shows up with the rest of the map, and then they finish it off, and Rey is off to Ahch-To to see Luke Skywalker. Then she's, you know, she takes off in the Falcon, walks up the steps. Meanwhile, little did we know the shit's about to hit the fan back at the car, but that's for another movie. First Order's coming back after him, which makes a lot of sense. But Rey is walking up the steps. Then there he is. He turns around. Luke Skywalker takes off his hood. Has a face of doesn't look happy. That's for damn sure. He does not look happy here, but you know, Rey's gonna try to hand him the saber anyway, and and then that is the end of the movie. But what did
and then she holds that lightsaber out for like a year or two.
Yeah. I mean, really though, that saber is the representation of all of our fan theories right there. You know what I mean? It really is. It symbolizes all these fan theories we were coming up with forever. It's just that's just kind of what it is, right? I mean, because, you know,
I just want to say that was the biggest dick tease to wait for a year for. 2 years for, my bad. That was the biggest dick tease ever.
Podcast for another time. But, yeah. Anyway, so, you know,
God, how long does this go on for?
you know, we're hitting a little over 3 hours now. So, let's, there I went.
Goodbye,
there went my
Dom.
video. Hold on 1 second here. I'm going to come back and we're going to wrap up.
Hey, at least we finished the movie.
Yeah. It's a 2-hour movie that we made.
All right,
3 hours.
everybody, this is our show now.
I'm back. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in to Dom's Corner episode, whatever it is. I don't know. We talked about Force Awakens. It was fun. Adam, Ian, you guys have been awesome to have on board here today. This was a lot of fun. Did you have anything else you wanted to say in closing? Go ahead, Adam.
Good movie. Still holds up. It's got its flaws. But to be fair, I don't care what anybody says. Every Star Wars movie has a flaw.
Yeah.
None of them are perfect. If you think any of them are perfect, then I think that's an opinion. But I think they all have their issues. There are very few movies that are perfect.
Exactly.
And I think this one has its flaws like all the other ones do, but all around very entertaining. dare I say, one of the most entertaining, simply because it's just so action packed. It's so full of nostalgia. We waited so long for it.
Yeah.
So there's a deep emotional connection to it. So I'm always wildly entertained when I get into these sequel movies, just because of, man, how much technology has improved and how much it taps into my nostalgia. So all in all, love it. Acting is way better than our Star Wars history, cinematography, lighting, camera work, all that
Right.
much improved, obviously. So still love this movie.
Thank you, Adam. And Adam and I will be back next Saturday for Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Ian, your closing statement.
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, Adam already kind of captured everything that needed to be captured.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I love this movie, and the moment this movie ended was the beginning of probably the absolute best time to be a Star Wars fan, was the moment this movie ended, and so on and so forth. Unless you didn't see the movie opening night, then it was a very bad time for you.
And you know what? I just realized between these two movies is like the first time where there really isn't that much of a necessity for an opening crawl in the next movie, because it literally picks up right where the last one picked up.
Let's throw it in there anyway. But yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, great time, guys, and always fun talking about these Star Wars films. This has been another episode of Dom's Corner. I will be leaving my Twitter and Instagram in the description below, so be sure to follow me there, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, leave some feedback in the comment section. We appreciate that very much. Adam, before we go, one more, where can the people find you?
At the Red Eclectic on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Check out my videos. Like, subscribe if you like them. Share them with your friends. I try to upload once a week, and before too long, hopefully twice a week. So.
All right. And Ian, where can the people find you?
I really just need to change my
yeah, never
my
mind.
handle.
Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a wonderful. Did you want to plug it? Go ahead.
Jutacular Ian.
Right. All right. So thank you for coming on today, Ian and Adam, and we will see you guys when we see you guys. Adam and I, like I said, next Saturday. So bye-bye.